Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for this historic debate.
Sweet. Alrighty. I'm still waiting for it to pop up on the stream. It says live stream is starting soon.
Yeah, well, they'll be behind us.
Okay, we're good.
Then we're going to get some echo because I left my speakers on, which may... Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Okay, yeah. They're quite a bit behind us then. That's all right.
There we go.
Yeah, we're good to go. They'll be probably like 30 seconds behind us, but that's
no.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure it was working, that's all. And I had like 10 different FAVYN voices coming through the screen at the same time.
not a horrible thing.
Well, maybe the ladies love it, but that's another story. So, FAVYN.
Yeah.
Would you like to start us off, or would you want me to present you a pointer first?
Oh, you can start us off. I mean, we can get into the green skull argument if you want to. I think that's a pretty hot topic if you want to start us off with that.
Right, okay, well, green skull is clearly a shill. The reason being is whether he actually receives payment from Microsoft is another story. But he openly takes bribes. He receives free consoles, that kind of shit. He goes to special events. So he is a shill. Would you contest that point?
Well, I would contest that point because, first of all, I think the original video I made, it wasn't about me being buddies with Green Skull. You misinterpreted, like, for instance, when I said, hey, I want to find common ground, kind of like I'm trying to do with you. That has nothing to do with, hey, I want to be your friend, or hey, I want to be Green Skull's friend. It's just, you know, even in that video, I say, hey, you know, he's a cool guy. He's got a, you know, a great personality. That has nothing to do with his opinion. That has nothing to do with me agreeing with his views. That's just me acknowledging him as a person, as a human being, and not just saying, you know, he's a fucking cunt or whatever. So that's what that video was, basically just acknowledging that. But what that video was really about was setting everybody up with a perspective. Because the reason I don't think Green Skull's a shill is because really, I don't think Green Skull's big enough. Or I don't think Halo's big enough to have shills. And I don't think Green Skull's big enough either. You see all of these, you know, you have guys like T. Martin and you have Ali A, basically 100% confirmed shills. They're in a huge community. They have millions of subscribers. They don't talk shit about anything they have in the game. And then now all of a sudden, once everybody says Infinite Warfare is bad, now they're willing to say, okay, yeah, it's not the greatest thing in the world. With Green Skull, the thing is he's not big enough and he's not doing well. His channel isn't reliant on being in good graces with 343 because his channel's doing horribly. If you look at his numbers, he's made 11 videos in the past month. Only one video has even gotten more than 10,000 views. That's freaking nothing. In the past 3 months, only 5 videos have even broke 20,000 views. That's still nothing. For a channel with over 250,000 subscribers to be pulling in the numbers that he's pulling, he's doing horrible. Okay? And even when he gets invited out to special events, when he is not paid for directly, I think we're both in agreement with that. You know, he's paid for basically in reciprocity. Hey, you know, we'll give you exclusive access to a game and you can make videos for it. And that's kind of how they do it. But the problem is that when he's done that, like when he did his For Honor series a little bit ago, he made 2 For Honor videos, exclusive access, less than 10,000 views combined on those videos. He's not making any money. If he was a shill, he would be doing something different.
That doesn't contest the point that he is a shill that receives bribes from the company.
Well, sure it does, because the point is a shill is somebody who pretends to be not affiliated when they actually are, and so then they say nice things about them, and then all of a sudden,
well, he does do that, doesn't he?
well, sure, but maybe my point is that he's saying those things because he actually likes the game. In my video, which
No, he doesn't.
well, sure he does. Sure he does, because my video very clearly points out that it would be in Green Skull's best interest to criticize the game. If you
No, it wouldn't.
sure, look at the scene right now. Look what channels are popular. Look
Don't
at like
be
the
ridiculous.
Hackman channel, and you look at Ray Civic, who's just blown up out of nowhere. They're getting hundreds of thousands of views.
Nonsense.
Dude, they're making hundreds of thousands of views criticizing this game. Green Skull's barely getting over 10,000, acting like everything's okay.
That doesn't matter though, does it? It's the long term, obviously.
It's the long term. The long term is that when Halo's doing well, Green Skull will do well. Say Green Skull says something bad about the game. Say he says something bad about the game. What are they going to do? Are they going to deny him access? Then who are they going to call? They don't have anybody else, and that's what I said in my video. They don't have anybody. Halo's doing so poorly right now that their best option is this dude with 250,000 views or 250,000 subscribers that barely breaks 10,000 views. He has one that broke 10,000 views this month.
That still doesn't debunk my argument.
Well, sure it does, because if he was against and he started criticizing the game, which is what I tried to get him to do in that video. You thought I was trying to be buddies, even though I'm saying it would be in his best interest to criticize the game because it would make Halo more popular. Look at the trends. Look at all the.
But that doesn't matter, though, does it? That's going to benefit him in the short term. Like if we look at Rippin's videos, but then it completely destroyed his entire channel by talking bad about Halo. So what are you talking about?
Well, you're not making any arguments. You're basically just making, he's
making a brilliant argument.
No, you're not. You don't have an argument. Your argument is just he's popular. He has an opinion I don't agree with, and he gets invited to special events, even though those special events don't give him anything. He's not.
He gets free consoles and merchandise from Microsoft.
Okay, that doesn't pay the bills.
But he's taking bribes from the company.
Okay, but you can't prove
not a shill for.
Prove that.
I can prove that because he openly admitted to taking bribes.
He openly admitted he has to, by law, it is required by law that if he is being compensated for his videos, he has to announce that as a paid promotion. He has to by law, and if this is his channel, if this is something that he's putting his
So you've never heard of a backhander then?
Well, okay. Well, if you want to
never heard of anything going on with something
illegal. If you want to make the claim that he's acting illegally,
I'm not making any claims. I'm making a claim that he takes.
Okay, but that's not a definitive argument.
Does he not? Does he not take bribes?
Does he or does he not take bribes? Yeah. If he's being told, "We'll give you this if you say nice things about us,"
that is a bribe.
That is illegal.
No.
Yes, that is illegal. You have to disclose if you are being compensated.
No, that's not illegal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 100% is. It is illegal. That's why T. Martin's getting in legal trouble because he didn't openly disclose that he was affiliated with CSGO Lotto. That's why Machinima got in trouble a while ago because it tried to do that. It tried to do back-end bribes, and now it went under investigation. It is illegal to do that. So that's why I don't think, unless Green Skull wants to risk the entire validity of his channel, I would venture to guess that he's not taking bribes. And that doesn't, detract from my main point.
He's openly taking bribes. He's taking merchandise.
Look, getting stuff from companies and making unboxing videos, that doesn't make you a shill. Okay, if people want to send him stuff, like if people want to send me stuff, I don't care. You can send me stuff that has nothing to do with my content. I'm not going to change my content. Well, sure it doesn't. That's just
you're gonna have a bias towards people who are sending you free stuff. That's obvious. What are you talking about?
Well, here's the thing. He lives and dies by his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is doing horribly. His YouTube channel is absolutely doing horrible. He is not making
I wouldn't mind being a pound behind him.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to here, I don't know. Are you licensed? Not licensed. Are you partnered with YouTube?
I am not.
Okay. Well, I am partnered with YouTube. I turn down sponsorships. I don't do any of that stuff. So I don't know how much money, being sponsored. I would reckon it's still not much because it's still related to how many views you get. But let me just put it in this way.
Well, according to Rippin in his video, he said when he worked at Ready Up Live, he made enough money to live on just with his videos.
Actually, he didn't. He actually
That's
said
exactly what he said.
Well, no, he said, I thought when I was joining Ready Up Live that I was going to be very successful, but it didn't happen. He even made a video saying it didn't happen.
No. He made a video stating that the amount of money he made from his videos on Ready Up Live was enough for him to live on.
Well, it's just not possible. It's just because I don't know what Rippin said. Rippin sounds like he's lying and full of crap because Rippin never brought.
Why did he take down the video?
Oh, I have no idea. All I know is that Rippin doesn't make any money. Rippin doesn't make any money.
Now he doesn't know because he changed his tune, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. Sure what happened. It might have been a contract thing with Ready Up Live. He may have been doing that. I don't know. We're talking about Green Skull here. The fact of the matter is that
Green Skull can afford to give out contracts. He must be making some serious money.
Well, I have no idea how he could be making it because his views aren't there. You make about $1 per 1,000 views.
Getting paid by Microsoft behind the scenes.
Okay, but that would be illegal.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't disprove the point, does it?
No, but you're not proving your point. You like giving these very loose arguments. You're like, oh, well, that doesn't disprove that. You're not proving your point. You're not.
Well, you can't prove to me that he's not being paid either. So.
Well, you're right. But then what does that mean? Does that mean you win? Or does that mean I win? What does that mean?
Well, this is why it's a debate, isn't it?
Right. So who do you think has the better argument?
Well, I do because he takes bribes from the company.
But you don't know that.
Yes, we do. He openly takes
video,
bribes.
Getting stuff and making an unboxing video.
But he openly takes. But that's a fact. Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is.
It's not a bribe. But here's the thing, GOL, that you just completely ignore. Doing what he's doing isn't making any money. It's not making him money. He's not getting the views. That is his livelihood. And you see what you didn't realize when I made my video. I wasn't trying to be buddies with Green Skull. I wasn't trying to get in on that. I was trying to reach out to Green Skull. I was trying to point out basically for him, look, he's not getting any views. He's not big. There's nobody else even touching him. And what frustrates me about Green Skull is he knows more than anybody how poorly Halo's doing right now. He knows more than anybody the dire straits that Halo's in. Okay, so for him to sit there and act like everything's okay is against his better judgment, which is what I was trying to really say in that video.
So what you're saying is he knows it's crap, yet he's saying it's good. Why might he do that?
What I'm saying is he knows that most people don't feel that way. But the only reason I could justify him not hopping on this bandwagon of criticism, which is infinitely more popular, is because he actually likes the game and he can't say anything bad about it because he doesn't know how. He doesn't know what to say because he would be lying.
Or he can't say anything bad about it because then he would lose his underhanded dealings with Microsoft.
Yeah, And who are they going to call for Halo? And that's my point. They don't have anybody else.
Ghostbusters.
He himself is already, Ghostbusters, right? It's called the Ghostbusters up. He himself isn't.
Sorry, but if someone ever says who you're going to call, it's Ghostbusters.
I don't blame you for that. I would have said that if you said that. But that's my point. Okay, if Green Skull was really trying to shill or just do it from the money, I don't think he would make Halo videos. I think he'd make something else, or he'd be making the kind of Halo videos that are infinitely popular right now. Right? That was what my point was. And in fact, I even tried to get him to do that. That's what I was trying to say in my video. Look, it's way more
Oh, hold on.
Green Skull is the peak of positive Halo YouTube, then there's no money there. Okay? Obviously, the trend is negative. And we both agree with that. That's our common ground. We both think we're going in the wrong direction.
The trend is not negative, though, is it? Because it's a cycle. It's going to go positive again.
Right,
as soon as the Halo trailers start to come out, it's going to go full circle again, just like it did with Halo 5 after Halo 4. So He's
That's
looking
not
at the long term. He's not looking at the short term, because he knows if he does start doing negative videos, all the fanboy retards that are sub to him will leave and go find some other fucking person to tell them what they want to hear. So he isn't going to do that.
They don't. There's nobody else. There's nobody else to tell them. He is the only prominent guy, unless you want to go to freaking Halo Follower, which reputation is completely shot. I don't even know if they exist anymore. They're so horrible. You have Green Skull. He's at like
the difference?
Well, first of all, I don't like Halo Follower. I think they're just clickbaity.
Well, what's the difference between Halo Follower and Green Skull?
Well, Green Skull is more of an individual. He just kind of does gameplay. Chris does big freaking, oh, is the Master Chief, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. I don't even freaking follow Halo Follower. I have no idea.
They both talk overly positive about.
Well, sure, they talk overly positive, and I would, even though Halo Follower has, Halo Follower, he just kind of rolls with the trends. Green Skull, at least, he's been consistent throughout this wave of criticism and negative Halo YouTubers. At least Green Skull's been out there saying, hey, I just like the game. Sorry, I can't say bad things about it. Even though after my video came out, he made a video saying there's no money in Halo YouTube, and he made a rant video that you even covered, which is what I wanted him to start doing. I wanted him to start speaking out, because
if what Rippin said is true, we know that's bullshit.
GLL, if you were a YouTube partner and you knew how much YouTube actually paid per view, which is like nothing, you would know that he wasn't making any money. I don't know why Rippin would say that. I don't know how you could make amount of money.
Green Skull has to be making money for the amount of rec packs he opens alone. Otherwise, he wouldn't even break even.
Well, I think his rec pack video here. Let me just give you an example. His rec pack video is about 50,000 views. The last one he did, it was like 45 minutes long.
So he wouldn't even break even by what you're saying.
No, he wouldn't. I don't think he would.
Well, that doesn't make sense, because he's doing
because they were all gift. They were all gift packed. They were all gifted.
But if they're all gifted, that means he's advertising for the company, which means he's a shill.
No, most likely the reason he makes those videos is because that makes him the most money. It's not like he's advertising.
But if the company is providing him with the rep packs, that means he's taking those rep packs and they are actively supplying him with the means to make money.
Do you not know that Halo 5 incorporated a gold gift thing? Like tons of people gifted him gold packs, because you as individuals can send gifts to people.
Yeah, but who's to say the people gifting these packs are not members of 343? Or
I don't know. It has a little blue name underneath the gold pack.
It could be anybody, couldn't it?
Well, okay. So here's some more surmising, just assuming that it's 343. Oh, well, those packs are all 343. That's not an argument. That's horrible. That's a horrible argument. Like, oh, well, all those gift packs could have been sent by 343. It's like, I don't know.
Are you saying they
probably not?
Are you saying they weren't sent by 343, or you're saying they can't have been sent by 343? Or
all I know is that when they enabled the buying and gifting to people, because everybody got one free gift, and a lot of people sent them to Green Skull, and he was saying, hey guys, stop sending me all these gift packs. I already have all the Rex. Okay. I mean, you lost that one pretty good.
Seems pretty fucking shady to me.
How does that shady? Actman, I think, got like 30 or 40. I think I got like 10 from people. Okay. If Green Skull, obviously, people who like Halo 5 watch him. He's probably the YouTuber they watched, all 10,000 of them, 2.5% of his whole audience, his 250,000 subscriber base. They probably sent him some. And he's like, hey, look, here's a ton of rec packs. I'm going to open them in a video because those are popular. And those are the only videos he does, basically, that actually get decent viewership. And even then, 50,000 views probably equates to a little over $50. Okay. And that's the truth. That's, as someone who makes money on YouTube, that's about how much it averages out to. Depending on the year, it's about a dollar for every 1,000 views. So if you go in and you look at his viewership, it's not there. The money's not there. He's making a little bit off his main streamers program. He's making some off Ready Up Live. He's making a little bit off Green Skull. It's not there. He's not making money being positive. It would be in his best interest to be negative. And in my video where I was talking about, I said that. I said it would be in his best interest. Why did I say that? Because I'm actually quite a bit smarter than you think I am. I want him to make negative videos.
You're wrong.
Well, I'm wrong. I'm making perfect sense. I want him to say bad things.
You are wrong.
Okay, well, that's not an argument. Me saying, oh, you're wrong.
It is not an argument.
That's not an argument.
Let me explain.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay. If we just take Rippon's channel as an example.
Sure. Why Rippon? Rippon has like what? Like less than 10,000 subscribers. He doesn't make anything.
Matter. It doesn't matter. The point is, he had a channel that was built on Halo 5 fanboys. He did negative videos about Halo 5. He attacked Ubernick. He did all these things. And now he doesn't even get views. He gets like 100 views a video when he was up to like 5,000. So he completely destroyed his entire channel by doing a couple of negative videos. The same thing would happen to Green Skull. He's built his channel on brainwashing fanboys, telling them everything is fantastic all the time. So the second he goes and makes a video, oh, Halo 5's terrible, that's it, he's done. Because people will attack him.
Okay, well, you make a somewhat decent point here. You are right. The majority of his fan base has been built on people who like Halo 5, right? That's a fair assumption. Okay, correct. He's been mostly positive. The problem is that 250,000 fan base, they don't watch him. And that's my argument. Okay, so that entire fan base that he's built up with a positive message, they don't watch him. Okay, now this is what I truly think. I think Green Skull thinks he's trapped. This is what I believe. I think Green Skull thinks he's trapped. I think he thinks I've spent 8 years building this channel. Halo's dying. My type of content doesn't do well. And you watch him on his Green Skull channel, like his personal channel. He even says, I want to build this channel. I hope this gets big, because he knows that Ready Up Live is kind of fucked, if I'm just being honest. And that's obviously, if I was buddies with Green Skull and I was his friend and I wanted to get in on some of that action, I wouldn't think this way. Okay? I mean, that has to make some sort of sense.
So how does that tie into him? The best thing for him to do would make negative videos. How would that help him?
Well, I mean, we can look at the last negative video he made, his little tiny rant that was pretty tame. It wasn't super over the top.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That wouldn't even qualify as a negative video.
Okay, but it got 21,000 views. Okay, well, so his criticisms and his opinions in his analysis video got 21,000 compared to his whatever, here's a demo of For Honor that got like 3.6 thousand.
He is a Halo channel.
That's true, but it's an exclusive game.
He's not going to get videos for For Honor, is he? He's not going to get views.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a Call of Duty channel. I make a Call of Duty video and I make 40,000 views on it.
You're not Green Skull. You didn't build your channel on Halo 5 fanboys. This is
right, but I didn't even have the subscribers of. I don't even have 40,000 subscribers. That means my video was reaching out to people and bringing them in. His videos, they're not bringing any people in. He's not growing. He's been 250,000 subscribers since Halo 5 came out. Okay, it's a year and a half later. He's at 256,000. I've grown more than he has since Halo 5 came out.
Yes, because Halo 5 sucked fucking dick, and you're a negative Halo channel. So obviously you're going to grow. That makes perfect sense.
Exactly, and here's the thing: if all of those people who started following him because of his Halo videos, okay, now that Halo 5 is bad, would it not be in his best interest to say, hey, I don't think this is good. I don't think this is good. I think we should change.
No, as discussed. Because it would completely be like committing suicide. His entire channel is built on fanboys that like to be told the game is always amazing.
Kamikazing into the ground right now, not saying anything. And the first glimmer of hope, he says, you know, Halo's not making me any money. Over 10,000 views. You know, my Halo 5 rant, 21,000 views.
We can't believe that. That's nonsense.
What are you talking about?
We can't believe everything Green Skull says when we've got Rippon contradicting what he's saying.
Okay, so you believe Rippon, somebody who's completely.
I believe that Rippon opened his mouth and spoke before thinking about what he was actually telling everybody, which is why he took down the video. So when someone uploads something and says something and then says, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that, and took down the video, maybe there's some truth to it. Maybe.
The problem is that the factual evidence doesn't support that he has any chance. I think he made like 2 videos for Ready Up Live. I think I saw him make like 2 videos for Ready Up Live. You're telling me that those 2 videos?
No, he made more than that. But
he made more. Okay, well, I don't think he made too many. He didn't make that many videos.
He didn't make a lot of videos. That was one of the points he brought up. But he said that the amount of money he made on those videos alone, if he continued to make them, he would have been able to live off that money. That's what he said in the video.
I think what he was implying is that he thought when he got on a big channel, because he was coming from a small channel, that when he made videos, they would reach a bigger audience. Obviously, it didn't do too well for him because he left. He's not there anymore.
That's because he had a fight of conscience, realized the game was shit, and didn't want to be a shill. Or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, well, Green Skull owns the company. It's not really something he can just, I'm leaving Ready Up Live, the thing that I own, the thing that I do, even though his content has slowed down. He doesn't make a lot of videos, and a lot of them are just streams, which are, boring, generic. He's failing as a positive Halo YouTuber, and that's my point. I don't really think I'm going to be able to get to you if what I've said so far doesn't make it. I mean, you can see obviously criticism channels are doing way better. They're pulling way more views.
That's besides the point. You're saying that Green Skull would do better if he criticized the game, which we know from experience with Rippon's channel, it would be channel suicide.
Rippon had like 9,000 views. Rippon stopped, well, not 9,000 views, barely any subscribers, and Rippon stopped playing Halo completely. He even said, hey, I'm going to play Destiny now. It's like, great. Yeah, your audience is super going to be interested in Destiny. He completely stopped playing Halo, and he made like his biggest video was why I'm quitting Halo. He's like, oh, wow. And then he milked that for a few more videos. And then he started trying to play something else. And it's like, oh, crap. Here I am now trying to play something else, and I'm not getting anywhere.
Well, obviously, but that's my point. He made negative Halo videos.
Yeah, but his negative Halo videos actually did pretty good.
Yes, they did well, but everybody watched them and then immediately stopped watching videos from them.
Yeah, because he stopped making Halo videos and went to another game.
No, he committed channel suicide.
Yes, because he said, I am no longer going to play the game that my channel was built on. Now, I'm like, what if I said, hey, I'm never going to make another Halo video again. Now I'm going to switch to Call of Duty. Do you think anybody would watch those?
Well, if Green Skull comes out and says Halo's terrible, then he's going to be doing the same thing. That's the same point.
Okay, well, then in Green Skull's case, he's in a very unfortunate position where he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Because if he keeps saying good things, his channel is obviously failing. It's obviously doing horrible, and he knows it.
No, because it's going to go full circle. Because
you don't know that.
I do know that.
He's been doing it for 8 years. He's been doing it for 8 years.
Yes, so obviously he knows it's going to go full circle as well, and he's just rolling with it.
Yeah, so because it's taken him 8 years to get to 250,000 subscribers, acting like it's the best freaking thing in the world. Meanwhile, all of the other channels who rode Halo and got to million subscribers, when it changed and it became worse, they switched their interest. Machinima used to be a Halo channel with millions of subscribers. They had to switch their focus because Halo wasn't big enough.
But that's not the same content as what Green Skull does.
Of course it's not. It's complete. It's just the concept that.
So it's not really a good comparison.
Here's the main focus. Halo, you agree with me on this. Halo will not get better. It will not grow going in this direction. You agree with that? It will not get bigger.
That's beside the point. We're talking about Green Skull's channel.
If Green Skull wants the game to grow, then he will want to encourage.
He doesn't want the game to grow. He just wants to look out for himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't do Rec Pack opening videos.
He's doing, that's the only thing people watch.
Exactly. So he's doing it for the money. the
Oh, I'm
points.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's doing that for the money. I think.
So
Green
why
makes
does he
videos
want?
for the
Why
money.
is he?
He
Why does he
makes it
want
for
the
the
game
living.
to grow? What's that?
Why
What are
does
you
he want the
talking about?
game to grow? Because the more people that play Halo, the more people that watch Halo videos. It's obvious. That's an
Well,
obvious.
that is obvious, but he's not looking at it that way, is he? Because he's making rec pack opening videos, and rec packs are one of the worst things in the game. So he's not helping matters by feeding the
Oh
fire.
yeah. I mean, I agree with that. That's why I made my video saying you should criticize the game. And in his rebuttal, he said, "Hey, I don't like microtransactions, but they're necessary evil." That's a lot more than when he was at first speaking, saying, "Oh wow, they completely sold me over. They completely won me over. It's super great." He's changing his tune. He's changed his tune. I'm trying to get him over that edge. I don't even talk to him personally. I made that video and I made my points concerning him because I wanted him to realize that. I wanted him to start being more negative. I wanted him for that to click in his mind, to be like, you know what, let me try that. Let me try to, maybe talk about maybe changing things up. Because when Halo is popular, when Halo is doing well, he's the Halo news channel, okay? When people care about Halo news, he's up there, he's going to get views. But first, we have to get people to care about Halo news. And if he wants people to care about Halo news, then we have to change Halo because no one cares about it right now. That's my argument.
Well, that's a different argument to what you were just saying. I'm
They're
saying it's not going to
completely
help
connected.
his channel, is it?
Yes, it will. It'll help his channel if more people
won't.
care about Halo, because he's a Halo news channel. Okay,
But
but
it
no
won't.
one cares about Halo news.
No one
No one
cares
cares about
about
Halo.
Green Skull because he's talks shit, not because it doesn't make sense. You're saying that no one watches him because Halo's not that popular, but just because Halo will become more popular, why would that necessarily mean they'd all go flocking to Green Skull's channel?
Well, what other channel would they go to for news?
He's not a channel for Halo. He's a channel for Halo 5 fanboys. Do
He's
you
not a
see the
channel. He's
difference?
been a channel for Halo for years, regardless of Halo 5.
Maybe so, but the point is his entire channel now is basically a channel full of Halo 5 fanboys.
Well, he's always been a Halo fan, period. Halo campaign, that's just always been what he's done.
Look at it from this angle, right? If I started doing Ret Pack videos, that would completely destroy my entire channel.
Well, yeah, because your entire channel has been based on how shitty the rec system is.
Right.
So is mine. If I made rec pack videos and opened them up and be like, hey, I bought 50 rec packs, come watch me. Do you know how much reputation I'd lose? I've made like 6 videos absolutely shitting on the rec system because it's horrible. And I've talked to this about tons of people, even people who support it. And everybody I've talked to, they've come around. I want Green Skull to come around on that. I want positive Halo YouTubers to come around on that.
Yes, but that's beside the point. You're saying that his channel would be better off if he did that, which he wouldn't, because like I've just said, if I did what he was doing, my channel would be done. But he's doing the opposite of what I'm doing. So if he comes out now and says the rec system is a joke, then all the people that have supported him up to this point, when he's doing all the openings and showing all the shits and just fanboying out over it, are going to turn on him. That's
See, I don't think so, because I've talked to iSpiteful about this, someone who's basically made his entire channel based on the rec system. And even he admits, like, yeah, you know what? It is responsible for my channel. It's responsible for a lot of growth, but it's not good for the game. And he said that. He said that openly. Okay. So I really don't think, yeah, people watch that. People watch those things. They're stupid. I hate rec opening videos. I do not think if Green Skull said, you know what, I just don't like the rec system, guys, I think it's bad for the game, that his audience would turn on him, because they respect his opinion, the people who actually watch him, the Halo 5 fanboys. And that's what I'm trying to get across. I want the Halo 5 fanboys to start thinking, maybe this isn't the right direction. I want the Halo 5 fanboys to start thinking, maybe a different direction would be better for Halo. That's why I want Green Skull. That's why I focused that video on getting Green Skull to say more negative things.
But that's not going to help his channel, is it?
Well, we don't know that because he hasn't tried. His few negative videos have done well. Has done better than his positive videos.
The videos doing well is not the same as helping his channel. His channel is built on fanboys that will lynch him if he makes videos contradicting what he's already said because they like to be told what they want to hear.
Well, that's just your summary, your opinion on his fan base. Yes, I agree. There's a lot of people there that like Halo 5, but they also respect Green Skull's opinion on Halo 5. I think Green Skull does like Halo 5. I've said that. I think Green Skull's, enjoyment of Halo 5 has kept him from going balls to the wall against it, because it's hard to like something and then see everybody else dislike it and think, oh, wow, it's doing horrible, but it's this something I enjoy. I don't know what to do. I think Green Skull feels a little trapped by that. So now I think Green Skull is trying where he can to criticize the game, right? He's like, oh, well, the art style's not great. That could be improved. This isn't great. The rec packs aren't great. I think that should be improved. I think it should be omitted entirely, but, at least he's starting to see that. He's starting to talk about these things a lot more. And that's what my video is about. So I think we've about covered the Green Skull topic. I mean, if you think you're right, that's fine. I think I make a pretty good case.
Well, you make a reasoned argument, but I still think you're wrong.
That's fine. All I'm trying to say is my argument at least isn't this stupid thing that maybe you once thought it was. There was reasoning behind the things I said, which is really all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to, convince you or change your mind. I'm just trying to get you to say, hey, you know what? There is a rationale behind it. Okay. And I can see why, because I can see your point of view too. I can see like, okay, well, if he's getting horrible views and he's barely making it, but he's still, his videos are still, I could see your point as well.
Okay. Well, let's just have a look at the chat for a second and then we'll move on. Has anyone got anything to add to the argument?
We're on a 30.
Yeah, well, they'll get it. They'll get it. Don't worry. They'll be in a rush. Halo Collective proving you're a fucking idiot. Okay, the chat's just gone to shit. Fuck them.
Yeah, so, fuck them. Right? I don't even know if they're watching. Please.
Gamer G, you have not arguments, GLL. Yeah,
I saw that.
Thanks for that one.
Make this a Q&A. Talk about something else. Okay, I think people are tired of the Green Skull thing.
Yeah, maybe we'll return to that if we ever do another one.
Possibly.
Maybe some new developments will come out of the Green Skull camp.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Here's the thing. Ultimately, I don't agree with Green Skull. I think he's wrong on almost all of his arguments. I think he's wrong. But if somewhere deep inside he's thinking, you know what, Halo, I wish Halo was bigger. I hope he starts talking about it. That's what I want him to do. Anyway, so what's the next topic?
He's not going to do that though if he's being paid to make them videos, is he?
Yeah, he's not. So, I mean, we'll see. All right, see you, Icy. Take care.
Okay, topic 2. Was that Gears of War?
Oh man, Gears of War is a short topic. That's a short one.
Let me see. Let me bring up what we said. I think the next one was Gears of War, followed by the dreaded sprint debate.
Oh, God. Oh, we didn't even talk about Luke the Notable. Did you see his new video?
No.
Don't do it. That was.
I can't understand why you would debate somebody that's such an idiot.
Well, I mean, it wasn't too hard.
I mean, the easy comeback would have been, well, I'm debating you, but you didn't go there. So.
I know. I thought about it. You know, his new video was not one of my favorites that he's done. Anyway, what's next? What do we got?
I can't understand why you said he made a good argument when.
No, I didn't. I said he made good points, and then you brought up a point that was obviously incredibly stupid. You know, which is that it paid for the DLC, which it of course did not.
Exactly.
Which is a point I actually took down. I said it didn't pay for the DLC, didn't pay for shit. All the stuff that came out in the DLC was stuff that we should have already had. We're in agreement with that point.
Yeah, but this is the guy. This is the guy that, you know, shouldn't be getting any praise.
Right, but again,
shouldn't be saying this guy has reasoned arguments when he's an idiot.
Well, when you're arguing somebody, again, you find common ground. You say, hey, you know, cool, I want him to listen to me. I want his fan base to come, and I want him to see what I have to say. So that way, when people go on his video and say, holy crap, this guy got destroyed, or his fan base says, wow, you know, Luke, you know, I like you, but you lost this one. You know, you keep cordial with everybody, you can reach more people, which is why you think I'm always trying to be friends with people. I'm not. I'm just trying to be cordial and not, you know, basically try not to be a dick.
Yeah, but these people need talking to in a more stern manner. You can't just talk to them like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, microtransactions, they're great. Yeah.
Right, whatever. But I spent 20 minutes dismantling his entire argument.
Yeah, but then you gave him praise.
At the beginning, that's called buttering somebody up. That's like an argument technique. And then I dismantled every single one of his arguments, even to the point where he said, yeah, you won the debate. I misunderstood what you were trying to say, and you're right. So, I mean, I feel like I handled it in a way that, you know, got people on his side to see it a different way. And even he saw it a different way after that. So I don't have any issue with how I handled it. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Are we doing Gears of War?
I take issue with it because you're giving him a lot of praise when he's an idiot. That's the point.
All I said praiseworthy was he makes good points. I was very vague. I didn't specify which points he made. Just trying to butter somebody up. You know, I don't mind Luke as a person. I don't like Luke's ideas. I don't think Luke has too many great ideas on where Halo 5 should go. He thinks Halo 5 is great. He thinks MCC's fixed. He thinks Halo 5's making tons of money. He's wrong. Okay, I think he's wrong. I tell him he's wrong. Well, that may be. That doesn't mean he's a bad person.
Well,
my girlfriend doesn't like video games at all. She thinks they're all stupid. I'll still do her. I mean, shit. I don't care.
Yeah, but you know, that's irrelevant to what I'm saying about Luke.
I'm just saying, it's just like your opinion on video games doesn't mean I have to hate you as a person. So don't mistake.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because what he says affects everybody, doesn't it? Not just me and you, but everybody. Has far-reaching consequences. Like
how? It's a video game. I mean, yeah, when he says shit like MCC's fixed, then a guy like me has to step in and be like, Luke, no, it's not. And I told him that. And now you have Actman making a video said basically calling, he hasn't made it yet, but he's just announced on Twitter that he's going to completely destroy the notion that MCC is fixed. When somebody says something stupid, regardless of who they are as a person, then you have people like myself, which I did. I dismantled a Luke video. Now you got Actman making an MCC is broken video. That's just the ebb and flow. That doesn't mean Actman has to hate Luke, or I have to hate Luke, even though I don't watch his content and I think his content is boring.
But the thing is, you're the guy that came out and said you're coming with an angle. You know, I'm just making videos pointing shit out.
You're right. And I can at least respect that about you. You are very honest. You say what you believe. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're not trying, you don't care. You just make your videos, right? You just enjoy it. You just do it for fun. And that's totally fine. Okay.
Yeah, but you're the guy that says you're trying to change things, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to have an impact. I'm trying to say things. I'm trying to to talk to people. I'm trying to communicate people. I'm trying to get people from all different circles.
Yeah, but the thing is you're going too far that way, aren't you?
Not really. How?
Well, yeah.
I'm pretty anti Halo 5. I always have been. I'm pretty anti 343, and I always have been, and I tell them that. I think
well, you were in the beginning, but midway through your channel, you kind of started to sell out. That would be my opinion.
The reason I started changing my tone, I was getting a lot of people that agreed with me. I was getting a lot of people that already thought the way I did. But whenever somebody else saw my video, they didn't like it. They didn't like my tone. They thought I was condescending and rude, which is fine. Which is fine for some people. Like you probably do that. I don't think you mind me saying that you kind of act like a dick sometimes. That's fine. I used to act like a dick, but I wanted to change those people's minds. I actually wanted to have an influence on them, and I couldn't by calling them fucking retarded all the time. So I had to kind of, still give my position that all these things are bad, but give it in a way to where those people don't instantly click off from the video. Like, hey, this, it's fine if you think this way. It's fine if you think this way, but think about it this way instead.
But then we get the situation where before you even start your video, you're already damage controlling for what's going to come later in the video. So it kind of softens the blow. It's like what you're saying does not hit home because it's like, well, if you don't feel this way, it doesn't really matter because it's just a video and it doesn't actually have any impact because your intro is like ridiculously long. And it's just like, well, this isn't my opinion. It's not your opinion. It's my opinion, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. If you want to go and buy a million microtransactions, that's fine. And that's the wrong message.
I don't think that. I tell people who say, well, it's my money, I'll use it. And it's like, I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting to make games that are better so that you don't have to spend your money. So I don't say it's great if you spend your own money. I fight against that notion that you even have to. And that's what I tell them. And it's like, it's not a matter of, oh, well, I don't have to spend the money. I don't want you to have to spend the money.
Yeah, but all while after saying in the video originally, it doesn't matter. This is my opinion. So if you have a different opinion, it's okay.
Well, yeah, again, that's buttering people up. That's trying to say you're not wrong, but maybe you're misinformed. Here, let me lay this argument out for you. That's just, a standard argument technique. Now, I could call them, hey, you're a fucking dumbass, but then they're not even going to listen to me at all. So the people who are agreeing with me, they're already going to agree with me more. But the people who don't agree with me, at least they'll hear what I have to say. And yeah, sometimes I'm more aggressive. If you want to be honest with me, I'm trying to become more aggressive. I'm trying to get some of that back just because I think it's more interesting to listen to. Some of my commentaries where I'm a little too analytical, I sound a little boring. I give myself that criticism. So I do want to incorporate some of that more blunt tactics that I used to, like I did in my new video, Halo, the gameplay and the lore video, where I said, if you think lore should impact gameplay, you're ignorant. And I was very blunt with those things while also backing it up. So, I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to, communicate with different people, try different things. But yeah, it's not like I'm changing my tone. It's not like I'm changing, or I am changing my tone. It's not like I'm changing my tune where I'm thinking all of these things are actually good. I'm not. I'm just trying to bring those people in so that they can hear what I have to say.
Right. Well, let's move on to Gears of War because that'll tie into what we're talking about here. So
cool.
Okay, so you made the video about Gears of War 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that video was complete and utter bullshit.
Well, in your opinion.
No, it was bullshit.
I think it was, well, I mean, first of all, based on what? Like, what was bad about it? You think Judgment was better than Gears 4, therefore my video is bullshit?
Well, on paper, before you even start even playing either of those games, on paper, Judgment wins.
Okay.
Before you even start.
Based on what? Like, a lot of people dislike Judgment. I dislike Judgment. I could barely play the game.
Yeah, but that's the mainstream way of thinking about it. It's just everybody hates Judgment. It's like everybody hates Reach. Everybody's got a hate on it. It's just something people do. Even the developers themselves hated on the game because they're trying to push the new game. They're like, oh, the Judgment was shit. Forget about that. This is our new game. So that's been in like.
Well, Judgment was poorly received. and Judgment did not sell very well. Gears 4, first of all, here's the thing. You're not wrong about Gears 4. A lot of people don't like it. It didn't sell very well. So I'm not going to argue. I don't really even think I need to argue this. Because first of all, this is one of the things where, in retrospect, the problems with Gears of War 4 were big problems. It has absolutely no worthwhile progression system in the game. It has a horrible microtransaction system, which I spent like 6 minutes talking about.
But that was later in the video, and originally you were praising the game for several minutes, and you shit on Judgment.
Yeah, I don't like Judgment.
Yeah, but okay. First of all, I've seen your gamer card, so unless you've got 1,000 accounts, how would you know how bad Judgment is?
I played Judgment. I didn't get it. Like, first of all, gamer score, that doesn't mean jack diddly shit. It's something that didn't interest me just based on what it was. And I played it and I didn't like it. You can't base anything on achievements. That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, you can, because it shows how much of the game, how much time you invested into the game.
No, it doesn't. It shows how much you hunt for achievements.
Not necessarily. Not if you've got basic stuff has not been unlocked. Like, for instance, you haven't completed Gears of War 4 on the hardest setting, for instance. So that shows you didn't play it on the hardest setting. That's what that shows.
I didn't talk about the game that much.
But that's what I'm saying.
I didn't talk about the campaign that much. I just said, hey, story-wise, I don't want to talk about this very much. It's good enough. It was a decent start. And here's the thing. I don't really
start to what?
I thought that Gears of War 4 was a decent first attempt by a new studio. Okay? Well, I thought it at least resembled the game. And basically what I was trying to say is that Gears of War 4 is at least, even if you think it's a bad one, it's at least a Gears of War game. Unlike Halo 5, which doesn't even resemble the series. So that's what I focused on in my video.
Yeah, but I did enjoy the game. You also made the point that the things that they changed in Judgment were a huge deal, which compared to Gears of War 4, that's crazy.
Well, what did they change in Gears 4 other than the shitty microtransactions?
Just look at them on paper.
Sure.
This is not an opinion. This is on paper before we even start, right?
Go for it.
Judgment does not have robots.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Great argument.
No, hang on a minute.
Okay, let me listen.
Judgment does not have robots, right? Nobody asked for robots. No one wanted robots. No one cares about robots. No one enjoys fighting robots. So
okay, go ahead.
Why would you put robots in for 2 acts?
Okay, yeah, I don't like that. I thought the robots were boring. They reused the exploding technique that they basically reused the Lambent gimmick where they explode.
Exactly.
So they weren't even interesting or new.
Exactly.
I do think their weaponry. I do think some of their weaponry was interesting. I do think like the E-bar or the M-bar or whatever. I do think that was a pretty cool gun. Okay. I think it has a cool cadence. So it's not like overall. I don't like their addition. So I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah. So the thing is, they've taken out all the cool enemies and replaced them with generic enemies, like robots. Like, you don't have boomers and grinders and centipedes and shit like that. You've just got generic ass big guys, and that's it.
Okay.
You got like small, medium, and big.
I don't think it was as good as the other campaigns. I don't think it had as interesting creature designs. I think
including Gears of War Judgment, I might add.
Yeah, Gears of War Judgment had better creature designs.
It had better campaign.
Okay. I admit I didn't play that too much. It didn't really resonate or click with me, the style.
This is the point I was making about your gamer card. You see, you can't criticize Judgment without knowing anything about it.
Well, I can from the standpoint that it didn't even interest me conceptually as a game. And again, it comes down to direction. I didn't like the direction of Judgment. I didn't like its arcadey, prequel, feel. I didn't like it as a direction. I didn't like the gameplay in it. They got rid of, down but not out. They added a bunch of weapons that you can spawn with.
Whoa. You see, you're wrong there. You're wrong straight away.
I'm talking in multiplayer, they have down but not out. From what I remember, they got rid of it.
Execution.
Okay, an execution.
Which is the main game mode since Gears of War 1. That's not in Team Deathmatch.
Okay, well, I would have preferred it in Team Deathmatch, but if it's an execution, that's a point.
It is. Now, the thing is, you got to look at this objectively now. We've got 2 campaign modes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they both have a campaign mode. Judgment actually has 2 different campaign modes. It has the extra Gears of War 3 behind the scenes where you've got Cole and Baird, which is like going alongside the Gears of War 3 campaign, which is a short campaign, which is like, it was going to be DLC, I think, for Gears of War 3, but it ended up being into Judgment. You've also got the campaign where it's set in the past with Baird and Cole and the UIR guy and shit. And that has all these challenges and different. So you have like these horde mode segments. Now, these horde mode segments are one of the reasons the game was negatively reviewed at the time, because they said, well, everything comes back to horde mode. Everything, you clear a room of enemies, you get another challenge, you clear another room of enemies. Yeah.
Right. And Gears of War 4 has horde mode segments.
Exactly. So if Gears of War Judgment sucks for that reason, then Gears of War 4 has to suck for the same reasons.
Okay, but here's the bottom line. If you like Judgment, that's fine. I wasn't interested in it from a directional standpoint. I gave it a shot. It didn't capture me. I didn't play it very long, and I probably wouldn't have played a Gears of War that built on Judgment. So you might think it's a better game. I don't even want to dispute that point.
It's not even. Yeah, but this is the thing. This is the thing. You can't do that, because you said in your review that the game is shit, essentially.
I said after Gears of War Judgment, I had started losing hope, because after Judgment, I wasn't interested in the series. I didn't like that game.
I didn't play the campaign mode.
I played enough of it to realize that it's not really what I want. That's all I'm saying. You can even have this entire argument if you think Gears Judgment is better than Gears 4. I'm willing to concede that I don't know enough about Gears Judgment other than I wasn't even interested in it conceptually, and I passed on it essentially, other than just trying it out and giving it, just to see if it could grab me. I don't really care about arguing Gears of War with you. Gears of War 4's not doing very well. It had horrible microtransactions. Its campaign was okay. It was okay. I thought it was a decent start. I thought the game was a decent first attempt by a new company that had never made a Gears of War 4 game before. I thought, even though they didn't go far enough.
You could argue that with Judgment, because that wasn't made by Epic Games either. That was made by Men Can't Fly.
People Can Fly, yeah.
That's the one, yeah.
You're right, but the things... You're right. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. You could say that was a decent first attempt, and who knows, maybe if People Can Fly were able to make another Gears of War game, they'd be able to learn from some of the things that people didn't like as much in Judgment and make a decent Gears of War. So my Gears 4 review, I liked the game. I said why I liked the game. You don't like the game. We have different opinions. That's cool.
Well, that's all well and good, but you really nailed it with Judgment, didn't you? When you don't know enough about the game, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't really talk about Judgment all that much. I basically just said it didn't. I just basically passingly made a comment after Gears of War Judgment. I had lost a lot of hope in the series because I didn't like the direction it had started going.
That's pretty. Never completed the campaign.
You're right. I didn't want to. I didn't even want to play the first. I didn't even want to play.
You don't know anything about it. Probably didn't get the season pass. Know nothing about it.
No, I didn't get the season pass.
That's what I'm saying. So it's an ill-informed argument. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but it was a very minor point in a 30-minute video. I passingly said
it's not
Judgment wasn't interesting.
It's not a minor point. The idea that Gears of War 4 is better than Judgment
is not my argument. It's not my argument.
Your video clearly states that after Judgment you lost hope. Okay.
Yes,
and Gears of War 4 rejuvenated your love for the Gears of War, which makes no sense because you never even play Gears of War Judgment. You see what I'm saying?
I did play Gears of War Judgment. I did not like it.
You didn't.
I did not want to continue playing it. Why? It's like, oh man, I'm just not feeling this game. I'm not interested in it. Here, let me beat the campaign and let me play 100 hours of the multiplayer so that when I debate GLL like 5 years from now, he's not going to be able to use it against me in an argument. Well, it's like I didn't like the game from what I played.
But this is the point, isn't it?
No, it's not, because you're taking a straw man argument. You're taking a straw man argument.
That's your favorite word. It's not a straw man argument.
Yeah, it is. You're taking like 5 seconds of a 30-minute video and building your entire
five important seconds.
5 seconds of a 30-minute video saying that I didn't like Judgment because I didn't.
So if you say something about sprints and it's 5 seconds long, that makes it somehow less relevant. When we're
are we going to segue into sprint now?
Well, I'm just saying. Well, how does it make any difference how many seconds of the video?
I don't know. Can I go into and can I pull 5 seconds of one of your videos and say, oh, well, now this is his entire argument throughout the entire video? No, of course not. You had however long you spent arguing. Now you can take certain points and be like, okay.
If I made a video saying Gears of War Judgment was shit, like even if it was for 5 seconds in the video, that would be the impression you would get from that 5 seconds. So what difference does it make?
Okay, but I've never made a Gears of War Judgment. I wouldn't be able to criticize it thoroughly because I don't know the game thoroughly. I know enough about the game to know it wasn't for me, and it wasn't for a lot of people, clearly. So my opinion that, hey, I lost a lot of hope. I didn't really like the direction that it went in, and a lot of other people didn't. I think my argument that I lost hope after Judgment is perfectly valid here.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Like I say, let's just do a list. Don't interrupt me.
Cool.
Let's do a list, okay? Gears Judgment versus Gears of War 4. So Judgment has 2 campaigns, easily as long as Gears of War 4's campaign, with better enemies, which you admitted.
That's fine.
Yeah. It has challenges, which they both have horde mode segments, but Judgment has challenges. Judgment has overrun mode. Gears of War 4 has horde mode. The horde mode in Gears of War 4 revolves around the microtransaction system, opening cases, that kind of shit. The overrun mode does not do any of that shit. Okay, there are some microtransactions in Judgment, but they are just for buying a skin here and there, which is bullshit in itself, but it's nowhere near on the level of Gears of War 4.
It's not an intrusive on the gameplay. Yeah.
Exactly, right? To an extent, right? Season passes. The season pass for Gears Judgment was 20 quid. The season pass for Gears of War 4 was 40 quid. The Gears of War Judgment season pass had 10 times the amount of content as the Gears of War 4 season pass. So the game on paper alone, without even starting the games up, playing them, getting a feel for the gameplay and whatever, on paper, just on features, content alone, Judgment takes it.
Okay, well, here's again, I'm not saying you're wrong. You have a compelling argument. If people like Judgment, I'm glad people like Judgment. Okay, I actually like People Can Fly as a company. But all I'm saying is I didn't like Judgment. I didn't like the direction of Judgment. I wasn't interested in it, even at a surface level. I liked Gears of War 4 and what it provided just based on conceptually. I'm not saying it did the things it did better than the things that Judgment did. I'm just saying I was more interested in the things that Gears of War did. Now, I don't think Gears of War 4 was, this godsend game. I liked the game. I thought it was a good start. And I said that. And I think they can take this, learn from it, and make a decent game. Which is what my argument is. And I think, I think that's fine. My Gears, I'm not a Gears super expert. I've played since the beginning, but I skipped Judgment or essentially skipped Judgment. And that's fine. I'm willing to move on.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, you see.
You've already said what the thing is. I agreed with you.
Yes, I agree. But the thing is, when you make a video, you come out and say Judgment shit, not in so many words, okay, simply because that is the
consensus
of, yeah, that's the word I was looking for, of what everybody else thinks. Shouldn't you be making your own informed reviews, not drawing on? I mean, and Angry Joe does this as well, so it's not just you. You know, other YouTubers do it, but you're drawing on shit from, you know, other people's opinions rather than what you think yourself. I mean, you could have just said, well, I didn't really play Judgment so much, and that could have left it at that. But you're sort of saying, yeah, the game was shit, just because everybody else seems to think it's shit, not yourself.
Well, no, I had the right to say I'd lost hope after Judgment because I didn't like Judgment. Even looking at it, I'm just like, no, you know what? That's not Gears to me. That's not what I want from a Gears of War game. I think I rented it actually, and I thought, nope, this isn't what I want. I don't like this. So it's not like I never played it.
So what put you off about Judgment compared with Gears 4?
Well, it might have just been that it was so closely after Gears 3. I didn't like some of the map design, because you have to remember, I'm a gameplay guy. I talk about gameplay a lot. It's not just how many features does this one have and how many features does this one have. It's just, it's a feeling. It's something I'm playing. I'm like, you know what? I just
that's great, but Judgment is way smoother. Like the shotgun and everything, and the speed of the game, the way it runs is way smoother than Gears of War 4.
I wasn't into the game, GLL. I don't know what to tell you. It's just my opinion that I didn't like it. You have an opinion that it's good. I have an opinion that
but it's not your opinion. It's a consensus of what other people have.
Well, no, I just disliked it, and there happens to be a lot of other people that disliked it.
That's what I'm saying. So they've influenced your opinion as well.
Okay, GLL, that's fine. 5 seconds, you got me. You got 5 seconds of my 30-minute Gears 4 review.
That's irrelevant. Doesn't matter if the point was 5 seconds long or 5 minutes long. You still made that point.
Right.
So that's irrelevant. I don't know why you get hung up on this 5-second thing.
GLL, I've been trying to move on from this Gears topic for a long time now. I've already said you can win your argument. I don't care.
It's not about winning and losing. It's about
I don't even know what you're trying to do right now.
I'm making a point.
No, you're not. I disliked the game. I didn't like it conceptually. I wasn't interested in it.
You disliked the game.
I said I lost hope after it.
Okay, you disliked the game, right? But you admit that there's a consensus that the game's bad, and that influenced you.
So because everybody else also didn't like it, now my opinion is just grouped in with everybody else.
Exactly.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. That's a horrible argument. It's like, because you have the popular opinion and I don't have the popular opinion. Now you're wrong. No, I just didn't like the game.
Yes, but did you play enough of the game to decide whether you liked it or not? I mean,
yeah, I played enough of the game.
Right,
I played all the amount of the game that I wanted to. There's been plenty of games where I've played and I thought, you know what? No, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not interested in it. I was interested in Gears of War 4, and when I played that game, it kept me along, and it kept me along. I played Gears of War Judgment, and I lost interest in it. I didn't want to play it anymore. That's not a fault on me. You can't expect me to play something that I don't enjoy. That's a bad argument.
Yeah, but the difference is then you just come out and say.
Yeah, I come out and say I didn't like it, and that I lost.
You come out and say, I didn't complete Judgment. I lost interest like halfway through or something like that. You don't say, you after Judgment, after playing several long hours.
I never said that.
No, No, but you imply that you know something about Judgment when you really don't.
But here's the thing, GLL. If I had replaced Lost Hope in Gears of War after Judgment, I could have replaced that with I started playing Gears Judgment and it didn't even capture me and I lost hope. It's almost more impactful. It's almost better than what I actually said.
Because by saying that you didn't play a lot of it, that means that maybe you didn't play enough of it to know whether you did enjoy the gameplay. I mean, you can make arguments if, like, say you didn't play something that much, you can say this is why you didn't like it. But you didn't really say that. You just said, I've lost hope because of Judgment. You didn't really expand on that. So
why would I? My video was not about Judgment.
Yeah, but it's about Gears of War, which is...
It's about Gears of War 4. It was a review of Gears of War 4.
Yeah, but you're
talking about Judgment when you're complaining about my Gears of War 4 review.
Correct. Because
why? Because you're making a straw man's argument. That is the definition of a straw man argument.
You're trying to tell me, right? All throughout this Gears of War 4 review, this is why Gears of War 4 is good. And like every point you make about Gears of War 4, I'm like, yeah, well, clearly that was in Judgment already. Or
I talk about gameplay. I talk about
clearly hasn't played
I talk
Judgment
about map design. I talk about tons of stuff. I talk about story direction. I talk about horde mode and why the microtransactions in it are bad. I talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but why wasn't that point brought up? They're like, well, the microtransactions in this horde mode are terrible. In fact, even Judgment, a game I dislike, didn't have these microtransactions.
Because why would I always constantly, as my video, why would I compare it to another game all the time?
I'll tell you why.
Your entire argument is comparing Gears of War 4 to Judgment because I mentioned it for like 2 seconds at the beginning of a video saying I didn't like it very much. And now here you are with a straw man argument. A straw man
argument.
Why
is it a straw man argument?
Because the definition of a straw man argument is when you take a particular component of a much larger argument and focus in on it. And by that definition...
No, the argument, it was Gears of War Judgment is better than Gears of War 4. So it's not a straw man argument.
That is your argument, and that is your opinion. I don't want to argue that. I don't care.
You don't want to argue that because you don't know anything about Judgment. Hence,
why would you? Of course I don't. How many times do I got to say, hey, I didn't really play a lot of Judgment.
What I'm saying is,
my Gears 4 review.
Yeah, but your Gears 4 review is full of shit.
Okay, that's your opinion.
No, it's not opinion. It's because your lack of knowledge about previous games. That is why
I played all of them extensively, but Judgment.
No, you did not.
Yeah, I did. I played Gears 1.
Seen a gamer card.
Who cares? It's my gamer score. Okay. I don't achievement hunt. That is such a horrible argument. If you look at my YouTube channel and you see that I have 12 times the subscribers that you do, does that make me a better YouTuber? Does that mean I know more about what I'm talking about just because you have more achievements than I do?
What is achievements?
I don't like to play on hard. I play through the story and I play the multiplayer because that's gameplay.
Hang on a minute. What is people on YouTube subscribing to your channel got to do with achievements?
It means they like my... No, because you're looking at a number. You're looking at my gamer score and saying, hey, look, I have more gamer score than Faye, and that means I know more about the game. That's exactly what you're doing.
No, I'm looking at base achievements in the game, like completed this, done this, which shows what you've done in the game. I'm not saying you have to have 1,000 million gamer score in every game. I'm saying if it says you haven't completed the game on the hardest setting, that means...
I don't... Look, GLL, I don't play games on hard.
You didn't play the
campaign game.
Yeah, but let's say, like, you didn't play the game twice or whatever.
Okay.
So...
Why? I don't have an infinite amount of time to play video games. Okay?
Well, that's fantastic, but that just proves my point.
I don't... If I've already beat a campaign... I almost rarely ever play through a campaign more than once. I focus on the multiplayer. My channel reflects that. All of my content is related to multiplayer. And I played a lot of Gears of War 3 multiplayer. I played a lot of Gears of War 2 multiplayer. Gears of War 1 was basically the only multiplayer game I had. It was my first game on Xbox Live. I played a lot. That's the component of the game that I enjoy. That's what I focus on. That's what I focus on.
Yeah, but then you reviewed the campaign in Gears of War 4, knowing that you're not
I very
campaign guy.
Said, and I even said, I don't focus on the campaign, so I'm just going to, go over real quickly. I say that. I say I'm not a campaign guy.
Right, but this is the point.
Right, exactly. That's my point. I confer. I say my bias. I said, hey, I'm not really a campaign guy.
You're saying that the campaign was good.
I'm saying that the campaign is a good start and it was smart.
So was it good or not? Are you changing?
I think it was good. I think it was decent. Right. Was it as good? Was it as interesting? Did it have as good a design? No, but just because it wasn't as good doesn't make it shit.
So where was the point in the video that this game is terrible because it's the worst Gears of War campaign of all time?
I don't know if it's the worst Gears campaign of all time, but I don't think it was terrible.
Okay,
even if it was worse than Gears of War 1, it could still be a good campaign, or worse than Gears 2 or 3 or Judgment. It could still be good, even if it's not as good as something else.
Not when it's a sequel, man. That's the whole point. It's supposed to get better and better or stay as good. It goes down to quality.
That's
you need to make that point.
No, that's flawed logic. oh, it's a sequel, and it's a sequel that's not as good as another game
Right. So
previously, so that makes it shit. No, it doesn't. It just
Of course,
makes it.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Things should
Okay.
continue to improve.
Well, that doesn't
Or stay
always
the
happen.
same. Well,
That doesn't
that's
always happen.
beside the point. That's beside the point. I'm not saying the game is automatically bad, but the point is it's automatically worse.
Okay, it's automatically worse, GLL. If that's fine, sure. Let's move on.
No, let's not move on because
Well,
you can't.
dude, no one cares about Gears in the comments, man. We've been talking about Gears forever. I already said
this is our argument. Fuck the people in the comments. Okay.
I've already said I don't care. You can win.
You're wriggling now.
I'm what?
You're wriggling.
I'm wriggling.
Yeah.
Like in what way? Like you can't hear me?
In what way is you can't answer that point? It doesn't make sense to you.
I've already told you how I felt, and you just want to keep reiterating over the same thing.
I'm not reiterating anything.
I mean, here's the thing, JLL. You basically just told me that if a sequel isn't as good as its predecessor, it's automatically shit. Do you know how obvious that logic is?
Well, no, it isn't,
that
because
is stupid. That's actually moronic.
You're paying full price for a brand new game, and it should be as good as or better than the one that came before. Hence, Halo 4 should be better than Halo Reach. Or at least attempting to be better.
Well, sure. Obviously, you attempt to be better. You attempt to try something new. You attempt to tell us.
That's exactly what the game industry is not doing. They're not attempting to be better with Gears of War 4. They're not attempting to be better with Rainbow Six Siege. They're not attempting to be better with any of these fucking games that are coming out recently. Battlefront, how the hell is that better? Bogus. Absolutely bogus. They're not attempting to be better. That is the point. So when you review a game like Gears of War 4, that's more or less a free-to-play game for full price, okay, at this point, okay, with full of microtransactions, and you don't make the point that, oh, by the way, Gears of War 1, 2, 3, and Judgment are clearly fucking better, didn't have any bullshit microtransactions. Even when they did have season passes and DLC, it was more content that's in this game. So you were getting more for your money. You don't make any of them points. All your points are, this game is good because it's new and it's good. You didn't make any points like, well, yeah, it's good, but back in the day, you know, like 10 years ago, that game was better. So this game is completely redundant because it can't even compete with its predecessors.
GLL, my video was already half an hour. I don't want to compare them to old games. I want to take it as its own thing. I do think the other Gears of Wars were better. Okay? It's not like I don't think that. You're basically just criticizing my decision not to say that. Which is lame. It's like, what are we even arguing for at this point?
It's not lame because you're the guy that came out and said your channel is about trying to make Halo better, trying to make games better, trying to get rid of these microtransactions, blah, 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 blah.
I am, and I criticize the microtransactions.
Right. So
obviously it's goes without saying that, hey, Gears of War 4's microtransactions are shit. And guess what? Gears 3 didn't have them, or they didn't have them in the same way Gears 4 does. That's obvious.
No, it isn't, because
if I'm complaining about it in 4, then obviously it's something that was negative and that they didn't do better. Okay, you're telling me my own logic's wrong.
No, it's wrong because people come to watch a review. They're not necessarily going to have played Gears of War 1, 2, 3, and friggin' Judgment. So your review, anybody that's a complete fucking noob to the series is going to watch that review and be like, yeah, this game is good. Not, oh yeah, you can go and buy a game that's like 10 years old that's a million times better. I mean, you're not educating people.
It's unquantifiable to even take those two games and then compare them and be like, oh, this one's objectively better. Obviously,
it's not objectively better. It's just better.
Obviously, Gears 1 doesn't have a high population. Gears 4 has this or that. It's not GLL. It's just your logic sometimes.
It's not objectively better if it's a pay to win game. It's not objectively better. If the entire game revolves around microtransactions, it's trying to be a free-to-play phone game, which is something you say you don't like. Clearly, you should be making the point in your video that it's not even as good as the last game.
I shat on it
from 10 years ago.
I shat on the microtransactions.
Yes, but you didn't make any points involving any of the previous games, and you don't even know anything about Judgment, yet you talk about Judgment in the video. knowing nothing about it,
So
and
I
not making.
passively say I didn't like Judgment because I didn't. And I didn't bring up a bunch of old games in my already 30-minute long video on Gears of War 4, where I criticized
hold
the
up on these times again. The time is irrelevant. So it's 30 minutes long, therefore I couldn't have said any more about anything else. Yes, you could have done, because it was literally I said it in like 2 seconds there. You could have made the video 2 minutes longer. It wouldn't have made any difference.
Okay, so you're upset that I didn't say, hey, Gears of War 1, 2, or 3 was better.
No, I'm saying that the video's like propaganda. It's like, hey, here's this great game, and we're gonna pretend that these other games don't even exist. Like over here, we're not even gonna compare a game that's the 5th one in the series to the 4 that came before it, and actually make a point that actually this game's fucking bad objectively, because it's not even as good as a game from 2007 or 8. Sorry.
Which, well, Gears came out in 06. Gears 3 came out in 2011.
11. And then Gears of War 2 was
08.
Yeah, 08. So it's not even as good as that. So it doesn't make sense.
Because, like I said, just because it's not as good as something doesn't mean it's good. Like I said, it is its own game. It is a new company. They have a new
bogus.
Okay, well then we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
No, we're not. That's bogus, because it's like saying, yeah, I've got this game on my phone here that's basically Red Alert, but with microtransactions. Now, because it's a phone game, everybody will say it's fucking terrible. But you put that game on a console, you're going to review it objectively and pretend that it's as good as. No, it wouldn't be, because you'd be like,
if the game's terrible, it's terrible. Okay, it doesn't matter whether
no, because you'd be like, yeah, well, it's not actually terrible automatically because it's got microtransactions in it or anything. You've got to look at it objectively, and then you're just going to review it as a game and say, well, this game is good because I like this, that, and the other, and not actually make the point that actually this game's fucking terrible because a game that's fucking years and years older than it has more fucking content from the same exact series. You could literally go and buy it for $5 and play the campaign, play all the shit right now online on your Xbox One. As more content.
I don't know what to tell you, DLL. I liked Gears of War 4. I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed playing it. I enjoyed my time with it. I wrote a review that reflected my opinion. That's all it was. If you don't like it, if you think I should have reviewed it in a different way, that's fine. I don't care. I do not care what your opinion on Gears Judgment is. If you think it's great, I don't care.
It's not just that, though, is it?
Over it.
The video is bullshit.
That's your opinion, man. It didn't even do very well. Hey, Gears 4 is not doing very well.
Gears 4 isn't doing very well, and I made that point in the video. You were saying it was going to do well and all this sort of thing. You were saying about the playlists. You were saying the playlists were good. I said the playlists were terrible months in advance, and I was clearly right.
Were worse than I thought. And I think I said like half an hour ago, I'm like, hey, we can move on. You can win this one. But no, it's like
this is the thing. This is the thing.
No, it's not a thing.
Where was your follow-up video to your Gears of War review that was like, actually, I was talking fucking bullshit. You stopped playing Gears of War 4, exactly, but you talked positively about it in the video. Meanwhile, I still play the game, and I think it's a pile of shit. What does that tell you? It means I give a shit about Gears of War 4. You don't give a shit about Gears of War.
I don't have time to play just every game out there. I have very little time to play video games. I have shit that I gotta go do. I can't just like, I don't really like Gears of War 4, but I'm going to play it anyway. Because I know if I have free time and I have the option to do something other than play a game I don't enjoy.
According to our reviews, you liked it more than me. So what gives?
Yeah, I did like it more than you. And I still think it's a good game and a good foundation, and I stand by that.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Because
the fact that liking it and thinking it's a decent game that's a good foundation for the future doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense because you don't play it anymore.
It's a difference of opinions.
And everything you said in that video is bullshit because you don't even play it anymore. You said the multiplayer is good, blah blah blah. Yet you don't play it anymore.
I don't play hardly any video games anymore. I play a new game.
Why are you a video game channel?
Because I love video games. I just don't
then make your mind up then.
I make 2 videos
a month. Do you play video games or not?
It's not like I have a lot of time. Okay, I make 2 videos a month.
What kind of excuse is that?
What kind of excuse is what? I don't have time? That's a pretty good excuse for why I do make a lot of videos and don't play a lot of games.
So you make a video about Gears of War 4, giving it a shitload of praise, apart from where you talk about the microtransactions, and I'll give you that, which you did. You gave the game a lot of praise. You talked about
I also said its map design was boring. I said robots weren't interesting to fight.
But you said the multiplayer was the best component, which you say you love.
I think it was. Don't you think the multiplayer was more done better than the horde mode with the shitty microtransactions?
I would say the horde mode is still the best thing, simply because the shotgun in multiplayer is horrendous.
Okay, well, I believe when I even referred to multiplayer, I said I included horde mode with that.
Yeah, but the thing is, in your videos, right?
Yep.
When we watch you playing on the game, you're playing like arms race, but you're talking about dodgeball. Now, wouldn't you think you would put dodgeball footage?
No, because I don't have time to get specialty footage.
You're going to talk about a game mode.
I literally just hit the play button, and I hope I get some decent footage. I don't do specialty footage. I don't have time to edit all that footage together.
Well, that's
I just
fine,
play my commentaries over gameplay. That's all I do.
But the thing is, if you like the game, wouldn't you think that you would play the game mode that you like? And seeing as you think that dodgeball is so good in the review, wouldn't you play dodgeball when you record it? I mean, it's not difficult, surely.
No, I think I just went into like the quick play thing or whatever.
Right.
That's all I did.
Well, it was arms race.
Right. I wasn't in the arms race playlist. I was in the cycling playlist.
But the thing is, it kind of contradicted what you were saying, because you were there saying dodgeball is good and all this stuff, and it's
I think it is,
and all this. Well, that's great, but you were playing arms race, one of the goofiest game modes in the game, while you were saying it, so it kind of took away from your point.
Great game mode, and yeah, that's a problem with my editing. I don't edit my videos very well. That has nothing to do with my argument, though. Just because I have a shitty editing. Okay, I have shitty editing, everybody.
It weakened your argument.
Sure, I realize that. Every time I post a video, I'm like, my gameplay is not displaying my argument very well. I don't have an option.
Some of it does.
I don't have the money to afford better editing software. I'm just doing what I can with what I have. I'm using a 4-year-old Triton mic when I make my commentaries, and the one I'm still using to talk to you right now. I don't make high-quality videos. I do the best I can. Okay, as far as like my quality and HD and all that, they are not as good as they could be. I recognize that. What's your point, though? Just because, he didn't sync up some dodgeball gameplay when he talked about dodgeball. Yeah, I didn't. I often don't sync up gameplay because I'm not a good editor. It is one of my weaker aspects of my channel. I focus everything I have into my arguments and my scripts. And then I just play whatever footage I can with the amount of time I have to collect footage. That's why my gameplay footage is utter garbage. I suck because I don't have time to practice. Okay, so I don't know what we're doing. I don't even know what we're debating right now.
Well, we're debating about Gears of War. That was the general debate, but the original debate was about Gears Judgment to Gears of War 4.
That's not a debate I want to debate. I don't care. That's your argument that you want to debate because you think you have leverage there. That's a straw man argument. I don't care.
Well, it's not a straw man argument, is it?
That's exactly what it is. That's literally a definition of a strong man argument. When you want to argue a particular point of a bigger argument.
If you're going to say in a video that Gears of War 4 is better than Judgment, you've got to back that up.
A straw man's argument is when you take a minor point in a video and blow it up to the full argument. That is exactly what you're doing.
No.
100% that's what you're doing.
I'm not.
Does anybody in the comments think that's
not? It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
Oh yeah, everybody else but you, in your opinion, is what matters.
Basically, yeah. I mean, they all said that Christopher Columbus was wrong when he said the world was round. It doesn't necessarily mean if everybody in the chat says the world's flat, then
so you're Christopher Columbus.
It doesn't mean it doesn't prove anything. You can't just go to the masses and say
you don't have anything to prove either. Your argument is just like, I don't think it's as good as Gears 4, or I don't think it's as good as these past Gears games, therefore it's bad. Well, I mean, we've been saying the same thing.
I'm trying to prove that you
flying fuckity shits about Gears of War. I do know what I'm talking about.
Not when it comes to Gears of War.
Like a decade.
No, you don't, because you're not even playing it now. You've given up on the game.
Because I don't play. I can only play so many games. I have new games to play. I don't want to go back and play Gears 4.
That's irrelevant.
I have Titanfall 2. I'll play Titanfall 2. I have Dishonored. I'll play that. Okay? I have new games.
You're the guy saying the game is good. Correct? I'm the guy saying the game is bad. I still play it. You do not play it. So what does that say?
What keeps you playing it? That is a straw man,
it?
Pondering Peanut. You have no idea what you're talking about.
What does that prove? I'll tell you what it proves. It proves is that you're not that bothered about Gears of War. You made a quick video on Gears of War.
Yeah, quick 30-minute video that took
the fuck on. Yeah, but you made it. It's still a quick video, and then you moved on with it. You didn't do follow-up videos to say,
You're right.
I was wrong about this, I was wrong about that.
I'm trying to talk about more videos. Okay, I'm trying to talk about more games. If I make 10 games, I can't. If I make 10 videos about 10 different games, I can't talk about each game as in depth as I talk about Halo, which I consider to be my expertise.
That's fine, but the point, we won't even go there. The point is that video was full of misinformation. You're telling people this, that, and the other about the game. Now you disagree with your own points you made in the video. Do you understand?
I just don't think that because some things aren't as good that it's a shit game. I don't agree with that notion. You have your entire argument.
But it's a worse game on paper.
It's a worse game on paper. If it's not as good as this game, it's automatically shit, which isn't true.
Not necessarily shit, but it's not as good.
That's all I'm saying.
No, games should improve, Fabi.
DLL, we agree that games are not as good as they used to be.
Correct. So when you talk about a new game, you should be explaining to people that games are not as good as we used to be. That should be the gist of your argument, because your channel is about trying to change things. Okay, you should be saying to people, Gears of War 4 is not as good as Gears of War 3. Do not fucking buy it until it's on sale. That's what you should be saying, because that's the point of your fucking channel, not my channel, your channel, mind you.
You're looking at everything too black and white. I think
no, I'm not.
4 has a good foundation to build on.
That doesn't matter, does it? Because it's still not as good as a game from 2011.
Hey, I mean, if I'm willing to let it go there. If you go, I think I'm right. Whatever. The people who are watching the debate, they can let it go. You're not going to change my mind.
Channel is about trying to change things, and you're not changing anything. You're in fact making things.
I'm sorry, I liked the game, GLL. I'm sorry, I gave my honest opinion on what I thought.
The same thing with Rainbow Six.
I shat on Rainbow Six for basically the same reason. I said Ubisoft's killing something that has a lot of potential. This is not a. In fact, I believe the title. I do like the game, and I believe I called that video a free-to-play game for a $60 price tag. Does that sound familiar? Because you've used the
Gears of War, and Gears of War was the same.
Okay, that's fine. I liked both of those games.
And Overwatch and all these games that came out last year.
I like Overwatch too.
This is what I'm saying. So your channel is about trying to change things, yet you support these games and do positive reviews about them.
I liked Overwatch. I bought that for $40. I play it on PC.
There you go, then.
I still like the game. Okay, so is your argument because I like Overwatch and I like Rainbow Six that I'm wrong because you don't like those games?
No, because your channel is supposed to be about changing things, yet you're telling people to support these games.
I am a gameplay channel. That is what
No, FAVYN. You said you want to change things. You're actively trying to engage the community to change people's opinions and try to change gaming for the better. That's your statement, not mine.
Yeah, I am.
You're actively making things worse by making videos about Gears of War, Rainbow Six, Overwatch, and not actually bashing the games anywhere near the amount you need to.
The games I like, I say I like them. The games I dislike, I say why I dislike them.
Shut up.
What?
Carry on. Guy in the chat, Jason Bourne. How was it a personal attack? That's a fact.
He has not personally attacked me. So
correct.
He's not personally attacking me.
Yeah, carry on. You were saying, go on.
I don't even remember what I was saying. All I'm saying is I say the games I like, I'm going to tell you I like them, and I'm going to tell you why. The games I dislike, I'm going to say why I dislike them, and I'm going to tell you why. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to always be negative. I'm not always going to be positive. So I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to encourage change. I think microtransactions are shitty. I've made countless videos. My stance on microtransactions should be pretty evident. You know, I've said they were shitting.
Can I just answer something from the chat for a second? Okay, so sure, Bladed Arbiter just said, GLL decides what videos FAVYN can make and what opinions it can have. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying FAVYN has an opinion, but he doesn't follow through with it with any of his videos. His opinion is he's trying to change the video game industry. Okay, he's trying to make things different, better for everybody, get rid of microtransactions, etc. That's his stance, right? So why would he support games that are full of microtransactions like Overwatch? Why wouldn't he do videos on The Witcher 3 and say, this is exactly what we need to be doing. This is the real game. This is a game you should go and buy day one. Not, oh yeah, well, I like Overwatch and I bought it for $40. It sends out the wrong message. It's not the message he's trying to deliver from his channel. And that's why I call bullshit on his channel. That's the point.
Because that's not the only thing I talk about. It's not like my entire channel is about, hey, screw microtransactions, right? I like Overwatch's
That's
gameplay.
what you said.
I like Gears of War 4's gameplay. I like Rainbow Six Siege's gameplay. I talk about gameplay more than any other topic. That is what I am as a channel. I have a gameplay focus. I like those games from a gameplay perspective. But I usually always bring up the fact that they have shitty microtransactions because I think they're bad. Okay, so I don't know what you're trying to disprove. It's not like, I like those games from a gameplay standpoint. Just because they have microtransactions, that does not mean I think their gameplay is bad. Okay,
but the thing is your channel is about trying to change things. You admit you said that, right?
But it's not just changing things as from the business side, it's changing things from a gameplay side. I want games to have more distinct gameplay styles. Overwatch plays nothing like Rainbow Six. Doom plays nothing like those games. I want Halo to play nothing like those games. I want games to be better, but one of the things I think games can be better by is by being different from each other, because all the games are doing the exact same shit. They're all having microtransactions. They're all following the same trends. So when I talk about games, it's not always, oh, they're all shit because they all have microtransactions. Some games break away in different ways. Like Overwatch, you may not like the microtransactions, but it has a distinct style. It has a distinct gameplay. So that is what I focused on. I said, hey, it's got good gameplay. Gears of War 4, I liked its gameplay. I liked that its gameplay was reminiscent of those old games. Whether you like it or not, that's how I felt. I like Doom.
Reminiscent of them old games with robots.
I'm talking about multiplayer, obviously. That's what I focus on.
You see, that again, that can be interpreted in different ways. So
you're right. Okay, but I don't think it's a huge deal.
Okay, so
how long is this going on for? Oh shit!
It's an hour and 40 minutes.
An hour and 35 minutes. We've had good viewership.
I was late. That's why. Yeah, so but you can see where I'm coming from is you're sending out the wrong message, surely.
Well, I think what you need to do is you need to expand your view of what I'm fighting for. I'm not just fighting for
no. This is your view. We're talking about your view. This is what you said. You said you want to change Halo. You want to change it, or you want to get rid of microtransactions, for instance. Okay, yep. How are you helping that? By supporting games that have microtransactions and rec systems and card packs and shit. How are you helping that? How is you saying live on stream to everybody here and everybody watching, I bought Overwatch for $40. How does that help anything? You're basically contradicting yourself. Here's a game that's full of microtransactions, free-to-play game for full price, 3 games at launch, cosmetic microtransactions. Yeah, I bought it day one, full price, $40. How does that send out the message that you're trying to change things? You're just supporting things and telling everybody else that subscribes to your channel and watches your videos, you're telling them to go out and buy that day one, essentially, because you're trying to convince them that the game is good.
I always handle a monetization system. I said Rainbow Six Siege is a great game. It's being held by... No, it's not. You're saying, why aren't you telling people about these shitty microtransactions? I am in every single instance.
Yes, but you're saying, yeah, the game is a free-to-play game for full price, but I bought it. That you see that contradicts your message. Don't you see that?
Haven't you bought all these games that also have microtransactions?
Not really, no.
You even continue that. You just said, oh, Gears of War 4 shit, it has tons of microtransactions.
My position is completely different to yours. You're the guy that's saying you're trying to change things. I'm just making an observation.
I am trying to change.
I told you about my channel and how it works. You're the guy saying you're trying to change things. You're the guy saying this, that, and the other. So why aren't you trying to change things? Why are you supporting these games? That is the point.
How in the world is my position against microtransactions not abundantly clear?
Okay, did you see the video from NeoNest007?
I have
on my
not.
channel? Right.
No.
This guy is the epitome of what I'm trying to say, okay? He is bashing... No, listen, this is not about you now. This is about NeoNest, okay? So just cool it for a minute, okay? So I'm not talking about you.
Cool.
NeoNest, okay? This guy is there spending $50 on microtransactions in Gears of War, all the while complaining about the system and what the system entails, while buying 50 quid's worth of, or $50 worth of cards and complaining about what he receives through RNG. Okay, this is the mindset of people online. Okay, they're trying, you complain about something, but you're not actually stopping shit. You're supporting the, actively supporting the systems. Okay, but then bashing them. That's not how you do it. You've got to come at it from the angle that
I have never spent a dime on microtransactions.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about NeoNest. Okay? But what I'm saying is, from your point of view, you're saying, oh, Overwatch, I'm not spending any money on the microtransactions, but you're still supporting the game. And because you're supporting the game, that has a knock-on effect. If you're telling people, go and buy this game, then those people are going to go and buy this game and support the microtransactions because you told them it was a good game. Whether you bash the microtransactions or whatever is irrelevant. Not everybody's as smart as fucking me, you, or some of the people in the fucking chat. Not all of them, as you can see. So some people get all their information from YouTube. So if all this popular spin is being spawned about Overwatch, that's probably one of the worst games that came out last year, gets Game of the Year, for instance, that's just going to fucking hinder your fucking argument. Your entire point is that you're trying to change these systems. So why would you support a game that is built around a system like that? It doesn't make sense.
Well, first of all, it's because I think what you're doing is you're conflating a singular issue. And basically what you're saying is if this one problem is in any game, that game is automatically shit, which is not true. Just because a game has a shitty monetization system does not mean the game at its foundation is a bad game. That is not true. I think Overwatch is a good game. I do not like its reward structure, even though I think by, you know, selling characters or whatever, or giving it's a long story. I do not like the reward structure of that game. I do not think it is overly fair, but I think it is a good game. Okay, so I say, hey, it's a good game. That's I don't see what the problem is. Yeah, it has microtransactions. Microtransactions are not this one all thing. Like, oh, if it has microtransactions, it's a shit game. Microtransactions a lot of times don't have anything to do with gameplay. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they impact it. That's just your opinion, man.
No. It's got 3 game modes at launch. Has very little content. Okay, it's got a free-to-play model. It's got the Halo 5 download model where you receive content at a later date while you're paying a fee up front. It's a free-to-pay game for full price. You're supporting that system. It doesn't matter what the gameplay is like. The system, you're the guy trying to say you're trying to change things. So how are you changing things by supporting a game that is essentially a phone game, using the model from a phone game? How are you helping matters? It doesn't make sense. You're not making any sense.
Because microtransactions aren't the only thing. It's not like the only thing that games can get wrong, right? It's like, do you think games have to be perfect? Do you think games have to be 100%? They have to have great gameplay and they have to have perfect monetization systems and they have to have perfect this and perfect that? No, sometimes games screw up and sometimes games do things that aren't very good, like all these games that are putting microtransactions in their games that are making them worse. But that just because the microtransactions are bad, which I don't like, it's abundantly clear, doesn't mean the rest of the game is bad. Doesn't mean they're not enjoyable games. I enjoy those games other than the microtransaction systems for the most part.
Right, but don't you think you're sending out mixed messages?
Not at all, because I'm not just about microtransactions. My entire channel is not about microtransactions. I always discuss it because it's an important topic.
No, but you're always negative towards microtransactions, yet you just keep supporting games that revolve around them.
Because I just fucking explained that just
No.
because you have microtransactions in the game doesn't automatically make the game bad.
Yeah, but when you are also using a model from Halo 5, so they've taken all the things you hate about everything else, put it together, but somehow it's a good game because they took things that you didn't like from all these other games and put them together.
First of all, I think Halo 5's structure is incredibly bad. And I dislike the game, all of the other aspects of it. I dislike the gameplay. I dislike the story. I dislike everything about Halo 5. Yeah. So there's not even, I can't even say good things about Halo 5 because I don't think there's any good things about Halo 5. Right. I mean, it's boring. It is not interesting to me.
Can I sense the chat a minute? Halo Collective, you said nothing but idiotic comments. This is going to be one of the worst. Overwatch does not revolve around its microtransactions, okay? We're not just talking about the microtransactions, we're talking about the model of the game. It has no content at launch. It has 3 game modes at launch. It has no content. It's a free-to-play game for full price. They're trying to make you buy skins in the game, okay? The whole thing is like you're receiving your content later. You're not receiving it up front. That's a free-to-play game. That'd be like, okay, here's the first 3 levels for free, and when all the stuff came out, you would be able to buy it. But instead, they're taking your money up front. It's a scam. You're not getting a full game at release. That's why it's a fucking shit model. That's why I'm trying to say to FAVYN, it's contradicting his message because the game itself revolves around shitty systems that he himself has said he is trying to change. So you're talking nonsense. And don't give me that characters bullshit because that's still 3 game modes with 23 characters. That doesn't fucking change anything. You've not fucking said anything to my point.
Well, the characters are the core of the game. I mean, they're really important.
If Halo released with 3 game modes, what would we be saying?
It did release with 3 game modes.
Well, this is what I'm saying. And did it not get hate for that?
Right, but there's not 23 different play styles that all of those maps and all those 3 game modes have to accommodate for.
Nothing. It's still 3 game modes. Should we get the same amount of fucking negative press as Halo did because it has no fucking content? Yet you're saying you went and bought it. Why would you go and buy that?
Of the different characters add the variety of that game. It is a game built around characters and multiple play styles. You can't do team deathmatch because not all characters are even offensive. You can't do, all these traditional modes because the play style of the game won't allow for it. So what you do is you put the variety and front load it into the characters and the dynamics and the synergies of the characters. And then you have a very few select game modes that incorporate all of those.
There's more game modes now. It has released more shit over time.
Sure, it's grown.
So my point is it's using the model. It's using that model that you don't like, but you'll support it for no reason. It doesn't make sense. It's using a model where you pay up front and then you receive your content at a later date. It's the same as Halo 5, yet people bashed Halo 5 for the same reason. You're not making any sense. It's like you completely just, I like the gameplay, therefore I will disregard all these negative points. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does, because like I said, it doesn't. Dude, just because I like a game does not mean I like the way it is monetized or the way it is expanded upon. Okay?
Right. But the game so why would you go
Gears of War 4. I do not like the way it is monetized or expanded upon. I like Overwatch. I do not like the way it is monetized or expanded upon. I dislike Halo 5's gameplay and its just overall enjoyment. And I also dislike basically everything else about it, including its microtransactions. So while I'm always hard on microtransactions, regardless of the game, I give props to gameplay where I see fit. That is a very easy to understand concept. That perfectly explains. Okay.
Can I just Halo Collective again? Listen, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. You can compare Team Fortress, a game that is basically free or really cheap. Team Fortress came in the orange box that was like several different games and all this other crap, and you're going to compare that to Overwatch and use that as a defense. That's exactly the reason why Overwatch is a fucking free-to-play fucking game. That's the whole point, is it's basically a Team Fortress. It's just a cheap-ass game. It's not a fucking game. that should be like full fucking price or $40 fucking dollars even. It's not worth that amount of money. It's a free to play game for full price. That is the point. So you're an idiot. Would you like to get on that, Fab?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure Team Fortress is, first of all, it's completely dead on Xbox, and I'm pretty sure it's either really cheap or free to play on.
So he's not got an argument there at all. He's trying to compare it, but that actually proves my point, is that this game hasn't got enough content at launch.
It is not an argument I would have used, certainly.
Exactly. This is the point. So a game that was released, you know, with the orange box, what was that, 2009, I think, something like that, as a guess. I can't remember.
2000 orange box was 04, actually. No, it's not. That was Half-Life 2. 07. 2007.
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah. So back then, we'd get a game like Orange Box. You get Half-Life 2. You get additional download content for Half-Life 2, like Episode 1, Episode 2. You get Portal, which was a new game, and you get Team Fortress. Now, scale all that back, you've just got Overwatch. It's basically just Team Fortress, yeah, with more character classes, but with the same exact fucking amount of game modes at launch, with more content on the way. Everything's turning into like, you know, a fucking download model, a shit download model. You can't just buy a full game and enjoy it. It's got to all be delayed content, microtransactions. All this stuff negatively impacts the games.
You're right. They do. Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I'm trying to, it's not, I don't just want games to ditch microtransactions. So many of my arguments are, look how much better the game can be if you use this reward structure over this one. Almost always you can come up with a better reward structure than a microtransaction structure. Those games aren't rewarding. Those games don't have long-term viability most of the time, because they're just inherently not rewarding games. But that does not mean that they don't have good cores and they don't have good gameplays. Okay, so what I try and do is my videos and say, hey, look, you have really distinct and interesting gameplay here, but you're, you know, shooting yourself in the foot by implementing shitty microtransactions. And that's kind of what happened with Gears 4, in my opinion. It has a good foundation, and, you know, it has some busted shit with the shotgun, but its microtransactions ruined that game's longevity completely. Okay, that doesn't mean it's not a good game at its core, but its longevity.
But when the whole game revolves around, and then it is. Oh,
yeah, 100%. You're right. When a game revolves around microtransactions, it shoots the game in the foot. That doesn't make the game bad. It means that it's not going to last. It hasn't lasted. It's done horribly. Halo 5 hasn't lasted. It's done horribly. All these games are doing poorly. Okay? Because, and I think it's because of microtransactions. And I say it every single time. But what I want to do, what I want to do is I want to say, hey, this is the only reason sometimes that it's doing poorly, because you have a good game at its core. You have a good game here. It is interesting, you know, gameplay wise. It might not always have enough content. If it doesn't, I'll say it doesn't, right? Mm-hmm. But it is still a good core game. It is a good formula. It is interesting, and it is distinct. When a game succeeds and does well in that way, I will say so. But I will also always say the things that it's not doing well. Okay? Because here's the thing. If a game got rid of microtransactions, it'd do better. If a game doesn't ship with microtransactions nowadays, it literally makes the news. It's like, holy crap, this game doesn't have microtransactions. Hallelujah. It's free press.
Yeah.
It's free press.
True. But you're giving Overwatch free press by giving it a review and saying it's a good game, even though it's got microtransactions. So it contradicts your point. That's what I'm saying. You're right about what you're saying, but the thing is it's an internally inconsistent statement to say, here I am, I dislike all these things. Overwatch has all these things, no content. So why would you buy that game at launch for $40 if it has no content at launch? Wouldn't you wait until later, get the Game of the Year edition or something when the content is improved? Why would you buy it day one and support it? He's sending out the wrong message. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, first, because I was interested in it from a gameplay standpoint. I had played the beta. To me, it was $40 worth of content. Okay, for me, I think $60. I said this in my video. $60. That's ridiculous. That's not enough. Yeah, there's not enough here to warrant the $60 purchase and the stuff they give you.
There's not enough to warrant. There's not enough to warrant 40, is there?
Okay, but for me, as someone who could, make videos about it or get in on the ground floor,
Yeah,
I spent the money on it, right? I wanted it. And whether you think that goes with my message or not is fine. It's not like I'm trying to hide it. It's not like I'm ashamed of it. Okay. I bought it. I made videos about it.
yeah, but this is why I make videos on people, because they contradict themselves. You understand that? So
Right,
what
but
you're
this
saying
is
there is
a very
internally inconsistent.
minor contradiction because I just said I praise games on more than just one aspect. And
Yeah, but
so
it's inconsistent.
it's not inconsistent. I don't have a set formula, right?
No,
I just do whatever I want to do.
yeah,
It's
but
my
that's
YouTube channel.
yeah, but you see, you're the guy that came out and said you want to change things. You're not changing things. You're making them worse by supporting games like Overwatch. You
Well,
are.
I like Overwatch. I think it is
Exactly.
a good game.
And that's a problem because
It is
it's
your opinion that
inconsistent.
Overwatch is bad and it's not worth $40. I think it is good and worth $40. So I'm not setting a bad example. I'm giving my opinion on a game.
You are setting a bad example because you're buying the game launched that has no content in it. You're
In
setting
your opinion, I see the value of the content in different areas than
how
you do. You see
well,
3 game modes. I see 23 different play
well,
styles that all have
it has
synergies.
three game modes. That's a fact. You know?
So what? You're putting all the weight in the game modes. The weight in the value of the game goes into the characters. And the characters.
There's also no campaign.
How could there be a campaign, GLL?
Why
How
not?
could there be? Some characters don't even have combat abilities.
Well, why couldn't there be one? You're damage controlling here. Why couldn't there be a campaign in
I'm not
Overwatch?
damage controlling. You could probably do like
Campaign.
a
You could do anything. You could
like
do
a
a
raid
full
type
campaign.
where you have 4 different co-op campaign. You could probably
You
make
could
that
do it
work.
like a Borderlands. It fit it perfectly. You go around and do stuff like that. You could be a Borderlands kind of thing. It wouldn't necessarily be as long, but you could do something like that where you go around, explore the world, shoot enemies. Wouldn't take much to just put in a campaign mode, a co-op. You could have horde modes. You could do all sorts with that franchise. Yet they give you the minimal amount and then charge you a ridiculous amount to buy it. What are you talking about? It could easily have a campaign mode.
This is all based on your opinion.
Not my opinion.
Overwatch isn't worth $40. No, it's not, because your opinion
It's not.
that a
It's not
game
my
has to
opinion.
have this many game modes to be worth however much money.
It's not my opinion.
I don't think it is.
Right there. It's not my opinion.
It is an
it's not worth
opinion.
$40.
It is your opinion that
not
Overwatch
worth
is not worth $40.
It's not my opinion. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. It's not.
It's not a fact. I think it's worth $40. Opinion.
How?
Because it has 23 different game styles. That's 23 different types of games that have to be balanced into one and all work well with each other.
Mass Effect had that in their horde mode, and they had a fucking huge RPG.
Oh my god, he just fucking compared Mass Effect. Mass Effect.
Well, it's true. They had a shitload of characters.
Was Mass Effect a competitive multiplayer game, or was it a horde mode?
Well, it was a horde mode, but this is the point. You still had a variation in different characters with all different abilities that took time to program and put in the game.
Let me break Overwatch down for you. Overwatch is a very, very complicated game with over 20 different play styles, all that have to be balanced with each other, all that have to be synergetic with some characters, they have to.
Overwatch isn't a balanced game. I've seen that gameplay.
It's not that it's a very difficult game to balance because it has a lot of complex.
It's not balanced. It's just a load of nonsense. It's not balanced.
That's your opinion.
Not my opinion.
That is, you can't say, "Oh, Overwatch is bad." That's a fact. No, it's not. That's not a fact.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's not worth $40. That's a different statement altogether.
Okay, I think Overwatch is worth $40 based on the amount of
because you like the gameplay and you think there's a lot of characters.
Right, and you don't think it's worth $40 because you don't care about characters and you don't like the gameplay.
It's
so where
not just about that, is it? The game is not. It doesn't have enough content to warrant that. There's far better shooters on the market with way more content. It doesn't make any sense. You can take, like I say, go back fucking 5-6 years, pick any game. It will have more content than Overwatch. It's not difficult, really. So it's completely devalued. It's not worth that amount of money. It uses a free-to-play model from phone games. It uses the download model from like Minecraft and Halo 5 and shit like that. So it's not worth that amount of money at release because it's using models from free-to-play games, which are free to play.
How much Overwatch have you played?
I haven't played Overwatch. What's that
Okay,
got
then
to do
what
with
the
the
fuck? You just
model?
criticized the shit out of me for not having ever played Judgment, saying I can't say anything bad about it. And here you are saying, oh, Overwatch is this and Overwatch is that, just based on things that you've watched. You're so inconsistent with your
I'm not
argument.
inconsistent
You
because
haven't even played Overwatch, and you're trying to tell me that it's not worth $40. Telling someone who has played it, who
it's not
enjoys it,
worth $40.
that thinks it
That's
is
why I
worth
haven't
$40.
bought it.
Right, but you're saying, oh, you're wrong because you haven't played Judgment. You can't say anything bad about it. But
No,
here
I'm
you
saying,
are telling me that you've never played Overwatch
I
based
didn't.
on things that you haven't even played.
No, because I didn't say in a review that I said this game is terrible and that I played it and it was the end of the fucking world for me. I didn't say that. I said Overwatch is a free-to-play game for full price, and here's why, and here's the statements why.
You have
I don't need to play it for that. I don't need to play it for that.
Validity in describing the
I do not
quality
need to
of
play. I do not need to play a game to tell you how many game modes it has and if it's worth purchasing. That's not a thing.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much more. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, here you are. You spent 45 minutes saying I didn't have any room to talk shit about.
Now who's got the straw, man?
Oh, yeah. It's what are you saying? I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing something that you tried to use to argue. You tried to argue the fact. Oh, you didn't play enough Judgment.
You're taking one thing I said out of a 2-hour debate, and that's a straw, man. Whatever.
Okay, sure. Sure. Great.
Whatever. That's not the point. The point is.
No, the point is I think it's worth $40. I've actually played the game. I described it in a way that I thought, hey, you know what? This is fair. This is a good game. Here you are, someone who's admitted they've never even played the game. Someone who thinks and who said earlier in this very debate that you need to have at least played the game to give your opinion on a game.
No, I never said that. What I said was you played the game.
I didn't say that.
That's not exactly what I said. What I said is you don't know anything about the game. I mean, you didn't. It's not as if you come into that review and said this, and this, and this is why I didn't like the game. I'm telling you why Overwatch is a bad game. I'm telling you why it's a free-to-play game for full price. You didn't say that in your review. You just said, yeah, Judgment, I lost hope after Judgment. Well, why did you lose? You can't just assert that. You've got to say why. You at least have to explain why, and that's what you failed to do.
Okay, so now you're just backtracking here.
I'm not backtracking. I'm trying to correct you on what you're trying to say that I said, because that's not what I said at all.
No, because you're saying, oh, he didn't play enough Judgment. He doesn't have a good enough opinion. You even went to my gamer score and said, oh, I looked at your gamer score. You didn't play enough.
If I was
talking shit about Overwatch, and you've never even played it, and you admitted that.
So if I was to buy Overwatch 2, and then I was to say Overwatch 1 was terrible, and I would give you my reasons why, I would clearly point out that I hadn't played the game. You're saying, yeah, Judgment, blah, 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 but you didn't elaborate on anything.
But I at least played Judgment to know enough that I wasn't interested in the game.
Yeah, but you didn't elaborate on that, did you?
You're oh my God. You're so beat on this argument.
How am I beat on the fact that it's a free-to-play game for full price?
Everybody who's heard this, who've heard you talk.
So it's not a free-to-play game for full price. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's not a free-to-play game for full price. It's $40.
How? Well, that's full price in my opinion. I mean,
$40.
It's
still worth $40. It is a good game.
How can it be worth $40?
It is a good game. I've told you. The variety goes into the characters and their design. You've never played it. You do not understand the game. You've never played Overwatch. You don't know how the game works. You don't know where the variety comes from. You don't know where the depth comes from. I do. I do know where it comes from. It is worth $40. The game is deep enough to warrant a $40 price tag. Okay? Anybody who's played Overwatch knows where the value of that game comes from. Okay? So don't say it's not value.
It's certainly not from the game modes or from the content or anything.
It's not. It's from the characters.
So it has no value.
It's from the characters. Its characters are designed differently than most games are. Its characters are designed to be synergetic and to have counters. It is a very fluid game. It is not. That's why they've had to make all the characters free instead of most games where they make you purchase characters individually, right? They had to all be free because they're all crucial. They're all important.
Well, according to you, they had to all be free because otherwise it wouldn't be worth $40. So
it is, in my opinion, it is worth $40.
I mean, so when
Overwatch, you do not know.
So when Overwatch 2 comes out, because everybody supported this game, do you not think that maybe everything's going to be like 10 times worse? Like,
I don't know. I think if you look at Blizzard's track record, they don't make a lot of sequels, and when they do make sequels, they're not 2 or 3 years later. They're usually a decade later. So Overwatch is most likely a game that's going to be built on for years and years.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, but on the other hand, money and microtransactions and the new gaming age, and that might not be the case with Overwatch. So I don't agree with that statement. The point is the next Overwatch will be worse because everybody bought it for $40. Everybody supported it for $40. So the next one might be $60 with less content. The same way that Judgment had a season pass that was 20 quid.
Right.
Then
and
Gears of War 4 has a 40 quid one with less content.
And Overwatch 2 gets released and it costs more and has less, then I will criticize the shit out of that game. Okay? I would criticize like, oh, wow, this is what we got for Overwatch.
Yeah, but you should be criticizing it now. So
I like the game. Why would I criticize it? I've criticized it where I thought it was weak.
It's a free-to-play game for full price. That's why.
That's your opinion.
Not my opinion. It's a fact.
Haven't played it.
The models that they are using are free-to-play models.
It has a microtransaction model. It does not have free-to-play content. It does not block access off to you that you have to spend money to play any parts of that game. All of the hard content is there.
But it shouldn't have microtransactions then, should it? I mean, if you had no microtransactions, you might have an argument. You might just say, oh, yeah, it's a game that lacks content, but it's using models, free-to-play game models where content is continually added and it has microtransactions. That is a free-to-play model. You do understand that, right?
Well, yeah, that is the free-to-play model that all free-to-play games use.
So it's a
free-to-play
game for full price.
Differently.
No, that's it. It's a free-to-play game.
So what you're saying is you think it should have been free, and it is not as egregious as free-to-play.
I'm saying is what you should have is the game, and you buy it day one with a lot of game modes and content and everything else. Not just 23 characters, but 10 game modes or whatever. You should, and a campaign mode and all these other great features that we've had over the years, like real content.
It's not that type of game. I'm sorry, GLL. It is a good game.
Nonsense.
Its value comes into the characters.
Look at
that you've never played, a game you've never played, a game you don't understand.
Look at a game that I don't even play, never even know anything about. Look at Splatoon over on Nintendo there.
What about it?
Splatoon. Well, it's a third-person shooter, yeah?
Yeah. What about it?
Online third-person shooter. Now, well, it has a campaign, but according to you, games like that don't need campaign modes. But there you go. You can have campaign modes in that kind of game. So that's a redundant argument. There's no reason Overwatch cannot have a campaign.
Overwatch and Splatoon aren't even remotely close to being the same game. They don't function any way.
They're both online shooters.
They're both online. Do you know how general that statement is? That is such a general statement.
It's a fact.
That's like saying, oh, Splatoon and Titanfall 1. Woo! Same thing.
They're both online shooters.
They're right. They're both online shooters, but that does not make them the same game. That does not mean
I never said they were the same game. But what I'm saying is, you're saying that for no apparent reason that Overwatch couldn't possibly have a campaign mode. It makes no sense. It clearly should have a campaign mode.
Based on what? Have you played the game? How would that? You don't even know how it would work. You're just like,
based on standards, basic gaming standards. Basically, you need a campaign, or you've got to have a shitload of multiplayer content. But you don't have either Overwatch. You don't have.
You do. Campaign. It's in the characters.
You can't have it. Can't do that when you've got 3 game modes. You can't say that. 3 game modes is not enough to say it's a multiplayer only game. How
your definition of value does not lie in something like character depth and synergies. That's just not what your definition is. It's still your opinion.
It's still your opinion. It's using free-to-play models. That's not my opinion. That is a fact. So
yeah, but that's not the same argument. You just like, oh, he got me on that gameplay one. Now I'm going to switch back.
No.
Now I'm going to switch back.
No, they tie into each other. They tie into each other because you're saying that it couldn't have a campaign, but if it's a game that you're buying for full fucking price, it should have a campaign. It should have things in it that would make it.
It's not full price. It's $40.
Well, stop saying that because that is just ridiculous.
A full price game is $60. It
Right,
didn't have a
okay.
campaign. The
But
game's $40.
it shouldn't even be $40 because it's a free to play game.
Okay,
You do
what,
understand that.
$30? $30?
Free. Free.
Free.
It should be
You think
free.
it should be free? You think
I
Overwatch
think-
should be free?
Yes.
That's just bullshit.
Why is it?
Well, because if it was free, first of all, they're still giving away a bunch of free shit. They are updating the game very
Yes, but that's irrelevant. It's a free to play game. It's using free to play
The
models.
microtransactions in that game are not intrusive. They are guaranteed. They are cosmetic only. Now, free to play games, they usually entice you with gameplay advantages. That is the free to play model. Any prominent free to play game very rarely uses a cosmetic only pricing structure. They almost always give you an advantage in free to play games. Overwatch does not do that. Overwatch ties it in to cosmetic only items. It has a separate ranking system that is rewarding through play. Okay, it is not an intrusive system. I don't like it. I still don't like it, but it is not this system that can pay for a game of this size by itself. It's just not. It's not intrusive enough. So yes, they give you a $40 game, and they have an unintrusive microtransaction system to help pay for the game as it grows. That's what Overwatch is.
Garden 11. Yes, Gears of War 4 should be free to play because it's a free to play game. It uses a free to play model, even more so than Overwatch does.
Which I would agree with. Gears of War 4's pricing structure is way worse than Overwatch.
Exactly, and it forces you to buy shit in the game to even complete the horde mode and shit like that. That's the point of it. They're trying to force you into buying all the cards to level your characters up so you can actually play horde mode. So by my logic, yes, Gears of War 4 is a free-to-play game. It's using free-to-play models more than Overwatch is, but that doesn't mean Overwatch isn't using free-to-play models and isn't a free-to-play game, because Gears of War is worse. You know, it's still using those models. It's using if it had no microtransactions, you'd have an argument. That's my opinion. You would have an argument if you said to me, "Yeah, well, the game has absolutely zero microtransactions," and and that would be like, again, Splatoon over on Nintendo. That uses the receive content later on, which is still bullshit. It's still delayed content, but there's no microtransactions. There's maybe DLC, but there's no microtransactions. Okay, for like skins and shit, irrelevant stuff. Just trying to nickel and dime. That's the free-to-play model, whether it be invasive or not. It's still the model.
Are you talking to me? I thought you were responding to that guy.
Yeah, well, both. But you can jump in there if you want, and then we'll move on.
I think we can move on. I think we both agree microtransactions are shit. I think I talk about more than just microtransactions. Sometimes I think a game is just good based on its gameplay, and that's my opinion of Overwatch. Okay.
Well, I think if this was a political debate, you'd be in the middle and I'd be far right.
Okay.
Like, I'm against any microtransactions. I don't care if they're invasive or not, because
intrusive.
Invasive as well, because I didn't want them. So
I thought you were just fine. Yeah, that's fine.
No. Invasive, because they are invasive. Okay. No one asked for them. No one wants them. So they're ruining they're ruining the gameplay. Even if it's just cosmetic and whatever, that just feeds the fire, because then it's like, I'm complaining about it, but some other idiot will be like, well, you don't have to actually buy them because they're not part of the actual game.
And that's a stupid argument.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it feeds the fire and it just dilutes everything down. No one's actually,
right. And you are correct. It is definitely difficult to separate certain things. I understand it's hard to give praise to something when it does certain things so horribly wrong. I understand how difficult it is and how some people can conflate everything into one simple issue. But I try to pick all of these pieces apart and analyze them in individual segments. Whether I always do that successfully is another matter. But have faith that I'm always trying to expose the bad, but highlight the good. I think that's fair.
but it's internally inconsistent.
Well, that's the argument. It's like, am I doing a good enough job of highlighting the good parts of the games while also making people sure that they acknowledge the bad parts?
Okay, well, we'll move on because
Okay, that's fine.
So,
okay, we gotta go through whatever the next section is.
Well, it's the sprint debate, the dreaded sprint debate. So I'm gonna get some water for this. Do you want to take a break for a couple of minutes?
I'm gonna take a piss. I gotta make sure I'm done.
We will be back after these messages.
I gotta make sure we're done pretty soon.
Okay, no problem.
All right, I'm back, fellas. Oh. Jason Bourne thinks I'm hot in real life. Thanks. Appreciate that. Oh, man.
Well, that was a weird thing to come back to. Right. Okay, you want to open this one or what?
Oh, man, I don't even freaking know. We're so on opposite ends of the spectrum on this one.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's going to be a good debate.
Oh, shit. I don't know if I even have time for this one. That's the problem.
Well, we can stop when you.
All right.
We've got to go.
I'm going to try and be out of here by at least 40 minutes or so.
Okay.
I think I could probably spare 40 minutes.
Okay.
Epic Forger, I lost my cool a little bit occasionally. Just getting fired up sometimes. I don't think I went too out of line, though. Some people want to make this a debate show. Okay, let's see. Where should we start with this deal? Well, most of what I know about your stance on Sprint is mostly just trying to dismantle my stance on Sprint. So what?
Because my stance is that it's not as big of a deal as everybody makes out, and it's over dramatized, and everybody keeps bringing it up like it's such a huge fucking problem. Yet it's a tiny little fucking piece of the puzzle that is not even that relevant. That is the point. Yeah, everybody keeps bringing it up.
So your argument is that it isn't a big deal.
Exactly. It's not.
Your argument is not that it doesn't change anything. You believe it changes things.
It's very minor.
Okay.
And if you're going to talk about sprint, as I see it, I'm talking about sprint from, you'll say something like, sprint and Halo Reach, but sprint and Halo Reach is then completely different to,
which is true.
Halo 4 to, well, not completely different. You got to pay it for infinite sprints. Well, you got to pay it for infinite sprint in Halo 4. You haven't got infinite sprint in Halo Reach, so that's different. But no one ever discusses those things.
Well, the thing is, I don't think infinite sprint versus non-infinite sprint is the big issue. It's guaranteed sprint. It's sprint as a base mechanic versus sprint as a selectable ability. That is a huge difference. That's where the difference lies. And when I've talked about sprint in the past, I haven't talked about Reach's incarnation of sprint. In fact, I very quickly move on from it at the beginning of my very first sprint video when I say that with Reach, sometimes you had it, sometimes you didn't. So it's not like something you could fully design around. Okay. In Halo 4 and in Halo 5, the sprint, the way it functions in those games, it's a completely separate issue. And I often see you cite the way sprint functions in Reach as your argument, which frustrates me very greatly because I'm not arguing against sprint's functionality in Reach. Why would I? It's a 6-year-old game. And they are different. And I think you agree with that. They are two different ways of sprint functionality.
Well, this is the thing, see, you change your argument. You change your argument from sprint to mobility, which is a different thing.
Tell the crowd what I changed my argument to.
From sprint to mobility.
Sprint
which is a different thing.
To mobility.
Yeah.
Does anybody in the audience think that sprint and mobility are not related topics? Does anybody think those are just like, wow, that's completely different? You completely
if you're arguing about sprint and then you move the goalposts and change it to mobility, then yeah, it's a different topic.
So sprint is a movement mechanic, correct? Sprint is a movement mechanic.
Right.
Mobility literally means the ability to move. So how is a movement mechanic not related to the ability to move? Of course, they're the same thing.
Because we're not talking about thrusters and ground pound and shoulder charge and all that shit. We're just talking about sprint. So when you move the goalposts and change your argument, you've changed your argument. It doesn't matter how much you've changed your argument, you've still changed it. That's a fact.
So when I made my first video, first of all, my videos are not in response to you. I do not make my videos based on our conversations. I make them because I want to, because they're in my head and I put them out there. So when I made my first video, Halo 5 was not out yet. Okay, I'm talking about sprint. I'm showing Halo 4 gameplay. I'm showing how sprint functions in Halo 4. Okay, and then I don't talk about it. Halo 5 comes out. Sprint's still an issue. Sprint's still being talked about. I make my video benefits of a no sprint Halo, but Halo 5 has more movement mechanics than just sprint. But those movement mechanics still change the game. So of course I include them into the pot because that is what Halo 5 uses. Of course I expanded my argument. Why would I complain just about sprint when there's more than just sprint? It's obvious.
Well, that's the question you need to be asking yourself, because for a long time that's all you talked about. Then you moved. I
have 2 videos on sprint.
Whoa!
I have 6.
FAVYN, every single video you have, at some point you mention sprint or Halo
I
Reach.
use it as an example because it's something that everybody recognizes as an issue. Usually,
you're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. I know what my videos are.
You just said you've got 2 videos on sprint. Then I say, yeah, but you mention it in every single video. So there's more videos about sprint.
I have 2 videos where the topic is sprint.
Yeah,
I have I have a number of videos where I bring up sprint to prove a point, but that is not what the topic of the video is. That is not my point. That's not my main argument in those videos.
But you're always talking about sprint. It's not. You're trying to say like, I've only got 2 videos on it. Like, you don't talk about it. No, you talk about it all the time.
Yes, I bring it up all the time.
Correct.
Because it is an easily identifiable argument. It's something everybody who's watching goes, hey, I understand that. Because everybody knows me as the sprint guy, But even so, I tie it into
Exactly.
arguments to be relatable. It has nothing to do with, I talk about it all the time, always trying to prove it wrong. I only have a couple videos where that is the focal point of my video. I talk about rec packs way more than I talk about sprint. Okay. I've talked about art design. I've talked about tons of issues. I do not think that sprint is the only reason Halo 5 is a failure.
But there's a reason. There's a reason you're known as the sprint guy, and that's because you're always talking about it.
Probably because I have the most well-known anti-sprint arguments on the YouTube. I didn't invent the arguments, or at least I didn't invent that first video, because I even say, what else can I say about this topic that hasn't been said before? It was a fan-requested video. People asked me to make it, so I did, and I think I didn't do a very good job on it, if I'm just being perfectly honest. But people liked that video, and people thought it was really good. Yeah, and then I made a better sprint argument, an argument that I thought, hey, this is a lot better. It can reach a lot more people. And I made that one, and it has like 20,000 views. That's why people think I'm the sprint guy.
Yeah, but this is the thing. What I'm saying is, what was I going to say? I lost what I was going to say. No, what I'm saying is, you're always talking about sprint, right? So you become
it's a big guy. It's an issue, but I moved it. It's not just sprint though. It's not like my entire channel is built on this one mechanic. That's why in my next video, when Halo 5's out, and Halo 5 also has movement mechanics like clamber, like thruster, I bring those in too, because they also change the game in a number of ways.
Yeah, but the tired old arguments that have been debunked, are we throwing some of those away now, or are we still trying to say that they are facts?
Which tired old arguments?
Well, just the tired old ones that everybody keeps bringing up. You
mean like you have to design maps around sprint? You think that's a tired argument?
I think it's a bogus argument, completely bogus.
So please tell me, in your own words, how do you design a multiplayer map?
How do you design a multiplayer map?
Yeah, in your own words, how do you design a multiplayer map?
You just make something that's fun.
You just make something that's fun. Describe how you make something that's fun. Describe how you make a multiplayer map, how you go about designing a play space.
It's to do with the way the map is designed, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's to do with sprint, because sprint does not change anything enough to warrant a change in design.
Okay, so here's the thing. Do you think they just throw shit together and think, oh, that looks cool, that probably works?
343, yes. I think 343 do just throw shit together.
A competent developer, do you think they do that?
Well, a competent developer didn't do these things that you're trying to say happened.
I will get to Reach, okay? I'll get to Reach. Do you think you just throw things together and poof, it magically works with your gameplay?
Well, when you've got maps that work with the gameplay...
How do you think you make them work? Do you think you just put walls there?
Well, they work
like,
because...
you can jump there.
So,
do you not think they test to see if they match up with a player's jump height?
Right. So if you... Right, yeah, but if you take a map from Halo 3 and it works in Halo Reach, what does that prove? It proves that that map is not really affected as much as you would claim it is affected. Because you're saying that big maps need to be bigger for the game to be fun, and you need more space, but that's impossible because we've got examples of maps that are from Halo 3 that does not have a sprint mechanic in games like Halo Reach and Halo 4, which proves that they don't need to make those maps bigger to make fun play spaces. They can still make them the same size and they will still work.
Okay, here's the thing. Listen. Almost your entire argument hinges on Reach functionality.
It's not just Reach.
Right, but they're different. So to say, oh, it works in Reach, therefore it can work in this way, it doesn't. Because in Reach, for almost all those examples, sprint wasn't a base mechanic in Reach. It was not something that every player had. Okay? Here's the facts. If you don't design around sprint, it's not like one of those things where, oh, you have sprint in your game. Oh, well, your maps, they'll just like, bleh, right? They won't even compute. They won't even go. They'll just be a big error page. Okay? You can still make whatever maps you want. But if you have sprint in the game and you don't design around it, it changes how those maps play. It changes jumps you can make. It changes how fast you can get from a certain area to a certain area. Oftentimes, there's negative changes, right? You can sprint back to a teammate. You can sprint up close to a player or whatever. So what my argument was is that those issues that you have if you don't change anything are usually compensated for in the map design. But the problem is when you change your map design or you change your whatever, well, then you run into a different set of issues. So basically, you're damned if you do, you damned if you don't. If Sprint changes things if you don't change anything. Sprint has things that it does that are just inherent. Their gameplay changes whether you change map design or not. And if you change map design, well, that's an obvious change. Obviously, you changed your map design. So what I'm saying is no matter what you do, Sprint has an effect on your game.
Yeah, but you're trying to say it's this big I am, that it's actually doing a lot. I'm trying to say it's very minor what it actually does. That's the point.
I think it does more than just make you go faster. I think there's a lot of things. I mean, listen,
a lot.
Imagine, here's the thing. With Reach, they had a bunch of different abilities, okay? And that sort of balances Sprint from the standpoint that it's not a base mechanic. It can't be built around. How could you build around something that's not always there, right? How could you do that? Because some people don't have it. So you design this jump where only Sprint can make it, and then everybody who doesn't use Sprint can't make that jump. Of course, you can't design your maps around everybody having something when they don't always have it. But to get that effect, you have to have even starts, which, in my opinion, is not good for Halo, is not a good direction for Halo. Okay? So you have all of these abilities at play that they're not designed for. Instead, they're designed to kind of counteract with each other and for the balancing to come from the abilities themselves and how they're functioning. But that's not how it works in Halo 4. In Halo 4, Sprint is a base mechanic that everybody has. So when you go designing a map in Halo 4, you know for 100% fact that Sprint will be in the game. And so when you design jumps, you design them, can people make this jump with Sprint? Can they not? How fast can people get here when they're sprinting? Of course they change their map design to when Sprint is a base mechanic. Sprint is not a base mechanic in Halo Reach. That makes sense, right?
However, we've seen Halo Reach, and we know that Sprint was one of the most used abilities in Halo Reach. We know that Halo Reach is a better game than Halo 4 to most people. We know that Halo Reach has the better maps than Halo 4. So wouldn't you think that with that reasoning that maps don't need to become bigger and then it's just 343 who are a bunch of idiots that don't know what they're doing?
Well, competent map design has nothing to do with map design principles, okay? Even if 343 follows the correct map design principles, that doesn't mean their maps aren't going to be shit. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that's not the point, is it? Because what we're saying is maps need to be bigger because of Sprint, and that's bogus. They don't.
Well, no, it's not just maps need to be bigger. It's not just the
that is the argument. That is the argument people throw around. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But it's not even bigger. It's not even smaller. It has nothing to do with a predetermined size.
You've said bigger before. You want to clarify?
Sure. I've said bigger before from the standpoint that a small play space like midship, if you put Sprint in it, it's very claustrophobic. It probably wouldn't work very well. So you have to make a play space like that bigger. Here's the thing, you can make a play space as small as you want to, as long as it complements the gameplay. So if you find a way to make a really small map where Sprint works, that's fine. Okay? As long as you design around it. But you have to design around it.
Yeah, well, my argument is that clearly it doesn't make that big of a difference, which is why you can go take Halo 2 maps and put them in Halo Reach, because it doesn't make that big of a difference.
Well, it stems from your opinion.
But it's not
Halo
opinion,
Reach
though, is it?
It's a good game. I think it's better than Halo 4. I do think it's a better game than Halo 4.
Well, we're comparing two games that have Sprint, so the one that's using levels from Halo 2 is better. So the argument that Sprint makes levels bigger doesn't wash, because clearly when the levels are smaller, it's actually better. So,
because people don't like those levels as much when Sprint is on them, regardless of whether you think
not everybody. Let's be clear on that.
Well, no, some people like them. Some people like Sprint on those levels, right?
Yeah.
They've remade the.
And Halo Reach is more popular than Halo 4.
You're right, and they've remade the pit in Halo 5, and people say, "Oh wow, the armor abilities, or not armor abilities, but Spartan abilities, they all work super awesome in Halo 5's the pit."
Isn't that a Forge map though, not an actual map, right?
Right, but I'm pretty sure it was 1-to-1. I'm pretty sure they tried to.
I'm not sure if it was. I'm just saying it's a Forge.
Yeah,
map.
I'm not 100%. It's a Forge map, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but all I'm saying is the notion that Sprint makes something better or not is an opinion. Okay, that's fine.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about how much it affects things, and I'm saying it doesn't affect them. So I'm saying it doesn't have to affect map design. That's a choice by the developers to make the maps bigger. You can make small maps with Sprint, so it's a bogus argument to say
it's not just the size of the maps. It's not just small, medium, or large.
That is the argument, though. We can change the argument now, but that's the argument that you've presented in the past, that Weapons Grade presented, that other people have presented, that everybody, the consensus, it's a dead argument. It's a bogus argument. Everybody says, oh, Sprint makes maps bigger. That is the argument. And I'm saying that is a bogus argument.
Well, Sprint itself doesn't make maps bigger, but Sprint influences larger play spaces because of the effect it has on the game. Now, if you put it in small play spaces, it will have an impact. Whether you like that impact or not is subjective.
But the thing is wouldn't they have taken that into account in Halo Reach? You're trying to say
no, they couldn't, because not everybody had it.
Well, that's irrelevant because it's in the game.
But not, how could they take it into account? How could they say, okay, people who have Sprint, they have to make the maps maneuverable for people who don't have Sprint, because not everybody did. So that's an obvious argument, right? It's like, oh, I don't have Sprint. Oh, I guess I can't navigate the map because they designed it around Sprint. Of course not. Of course they didn't do that.
But half the other abilities are like Jetpack, which is
garbage.
Well, this is the point. So,
right, and why do you think Jetpack's garbage? Because it changes how you maneuver the map.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Jetpack is far worse than Sprint, but no one ever discusses the Jetpack.
Why would people? Yeah, you're right. Why would I discuss a Jetpack? There's no more Jetpacks. Why would I, if I'm trying to influence change and there's no Jetpacks anymore? Why would I talk about how shitty the Jetpacks are? They're gone.
Because you're bashing something in the game that's redundant now. It's redundant.
I'm not bashing Sprint. I'm not bashing Sprint in Reach. I'm bashing Sprint as it functions today.
Yeah, but that's completely different to how it did in the past. And you always say that Reach brought all these changes and blah, blah, blah. Yet Reach is a completely separate entity.
It introduced mechanics in a way that was not as intrusive. And some of those mechanics eventually became base mechanics. Sprint went from being an optional ability that you couldn't design around. It was its own thing. Reach was its own little game. Okay. And then they made it a base mechanic in Halo 4. When something is a base mechanic, like your jump height, like Clamber is, when you're designing a map and you're playing around on it, you have to know, like, okay, I can jump here normally, but if I sprint jump, I can make it here. If I sprint, jump, and thrust during, then clamber, I can make it all the way over here. All of those things have to be play tested when you're making a map. Now, granted, in Reach, sometimes, you could probably make some jumps that you couldn't make without sprint, but that was an advantage you got by choosing sprint, and it was weighted against the advantages you got from other abilities. I don't think it always worked, but that's how Reach functioned. That's not how Halo 4 and Halo 5 function. So that's why when I talk about Sprint, I bring up the fact that it stretches maps, or not stretches maps, but, it changes the way you design your maps, which it certainly does when it's a base mechanic, when it's something that's going to be there, and it's something that everybody's going to have regardless. And I think you could understand that.
Well, it's a good point, but it still doesn't debunk my point about the map sizes, because you could still make a level, even if you say, oh, we're playtesting it this way and this is how we think it's going to be. You could still make a game with Sprint with levels from Halo 3. Because
but it's going to change how those levels play. It will change. Whether you think it plays
not that much.
Whether you think it plays bad. Well, I think it would depend on the level. I think different maps would be affected.
I would agree with that, but what I'm saying is it wouldn't make that much of a difference, even on the levels that would be greatly affected. It wouldn't make a huge amount of difference. It wouldn't.
Well, I think, yes. I mean, I'm willing to humor that point, because you look at the pit. The pit's very simplistic. Has very simplistic architecture. There's not a whole lot of elevation. It's kind of it's pretty flat. There's jumps that you can make that you couldn't make before, but other than just this changes that Sprint has by itself, it doesn't change navigation in that map to a large degree. So obviously your point is supported by something like that, but that doesn't mean that it's a rule that applies to every single Halo map that's ever been made. I think the larger the maps, the more simplistic the geometry is, the less Sprint will have an effect on it. But I think for the most part, when you're building a new game and you're building a new play space, Sprint is not something that you just ignore. Sprint is something that you understand is in the game and that you pace, you time around. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, but they made Halo 3 online, so that has Sprint.
Halo Online
has Sprint.
If you go play that, have you played Halo Online?
I have, yeah. Not
okay,
much,
I don't know if you've played it recently, but I've played it within the past couple months. Almost every server there is Sprint free, has no Sprint. So I think Saber, whoever made that game for Russia, it was basically supposed to just be a cash grab. It wasn't made properly. It wasn't a well-made game. It's not that great. I don't think
neither were Halo 4 and 5. So
that's true enough.
That's not something
that's true enough.
You can shy away from. So
that's a fine point. 4 and 5 were shit, but Halo Online was shit. Okay, Halo Online, I believe, got shut down. I believe they shut down the servers on that game because it did horribly. So I don't necessarily know if that's helps you or hurts you.
Well, it helps me because we can see that we can play this game with Sprint. Because we can play the game with Sprint, we can say they could make a game that has Sprint but still has levels like Halo 3's levels, like Halo 2's levels.
Right, but you can't guarantee that it doesn't change the way that those levels play or doesn't break those levels, because sometimes it will. Sometimes
it doesn't because it's not as much of a factor as everybody makes out. That's the point. It doesn't make much of a difference. Now, if you start saying, well, infinite sprint, then you might have an argument, because then you can never catch somebody. It turns into Gears of War. But there's no cooldown. So
that might be something. That might be something if there's nobody else on the maps. But how often does it take more than 4 or 5 seconds of sprinting to find another teammate to help you out and sprint away from? So that's why that argument is flawed.
Yeah, but that running away argument doesn't gel at all, because you could run into somebody who is on the opposite team just as easily.
Right, but do you see what's happening here? You're playing out all these scenarios. Oh, with sprint, when you run away, you could run into another person. You could run into a teammate.
You were asserting a scenario there where you could run into a teammate. That's a scenario too.
My scenario is that it changes things. It allows you to do things.
That's not what you were saying. That was not the scenario. The scenario was you would run to a teammate. That's a scenario. That's a different thing.
Right, but that scenario was presented to show you that, look, this is something.
But I'm presenting another scenario that contradicts your scenario.
Yeah, obviously, if you run into an enemy player, you're in trouble.
Oh, that's obvious. Then. So
why does that prove
just because you're running away doesn't necessarily mean you got to run to your teammates? That's the point.
So you don't know where your teammates are at all times. Of course you do, and chances
you
are
you don't know where the enemies are, though, do you?
Okay, well, this argument is this counter is not very good. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Of course, you can run into somebody if you're not careful.
Well, this is it then. So that you might as well not even carry on with that, because we've countered each other's arguments. It's just conjecture. It's whatever.
Right. It's an opinion.
It's like you said. You're asserting something that's always going to happen in the game when it won't.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is that the mechanic of sprint, when you run away, whether you run into somebody that isn't on your team or you run into somebody that is on your team, the point being is you're not fighting. Okay, you're running away. You're putting your gun down and you're running, and the person chasing you also has their gun down and they're running, and the person chasing you, they might come around a corner with their gun down and be screwed because they ran into a bad guy. Do you see what I mean? What I'm trying to say is,
but you can still run away in other Halo games. It's not just limited to games that have sprint.
But you run away at the same speed in which you.
But you're both running at the same speed anyway.
Right, but you can't fight when you're running in a game with sprint. You can fight when you're running in a game with.
That's why I'm saying if you have a cooldown rather than infinite sprint, it makes a huge difference. That's what
it makes a difference, but it does not make
a huge difference.
No, because what it's like, oh, all of the bad parts about sprint happens after 4 seconds of sprinting. No, sprint can still hurt the game in the 4 or 5 second burst.
A small few seconds of speed is not the same as infinite speed. It's a different thing. You never made that point ever in any of your videos, ever.
Because I don't think it's a good fix. And also, having sprint run out hurts navigation purposes. Because here I am, like, oh, I can't navigate the map anymore until my thing recharges.
Not really, because it takes skill to know when your sprint's going to run out. So you just
that's fine. But here you are saying here is a dynamic that sprint adds. It is still a change to the gameplay.
Not much of a change, though. That's the argument.
Now there's this new tactic.
No, I said right from the beginning.
That's all I'm trying to do is say, hey, it makes it a different game. It changes things. It adds things.
But my argument is not certain that much. That is the point. I mean, if you're going to argue sprint, then you've got to argue infinite sprint. You've got to argue thrusters. They're all different things. Sprint itself, a few seconds of speed, is not overpowered by any means. It barely even affects the gameplay. There's a couple of sprint jumps. I admit that. There's a couple of things, little niggles you can do here and there. No one's debating that. We're talking about you were trying to say that sprint, ruined the entire game. That was your original video. You've come down from there, but you see what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense. That argument.
No, here's the thing. I do think I don't think it ruins the whole game. Okay, if you took Halo 5 and you took sprint away from it, it would still be a bullshit game. That game would be horrible. Okay, it would still be bad. It's not like sprint is the reason Halo 5 is bad. Okay, there's so many things wrong with Halo right now. It's almost hard to list them off. There's so many. But what sprint does do is it does influence certain things that have become worse. Okay, regardless of how much you think you have to incorporate.
But that's a different thing altogether. That's a different argument. We're just talking about sprint on its own.
That's fine. We can talk about sprint on its own.
But if we're gonna start saying, well, after sprint they added this, that, and the other, and here's why, that's a different argument altogether. That's not about just sprint, is it?
Well, no, but you just said that I think everything wrong with the game is just sprint, and I'm telling you,
but I'm saying you changed your argument from sprint to mobility, so you actively changed.
That's not a change. That's the same concept.
No, it isn't. I've just explained it. You're
changing your argument. Movement mechanic. Mobility is the ability to move. That is the same argument.
It's not the same argument because you're changing it from just sprint, which is one single thing, to all these other things.
Why would I talk about just sprint? When in Halo 5, it's not just sprint.
Well, you were talking
when I made that initial video, Halo didn't have anything but sprint, okay, as a base mechanic.
Yeah, but you talked about sprint in other videos. We've been through this.
Yeah, I talk about sprint and mobility. I think I just made a video called Advanced Mobility, or The Best Chance for Halo is a Spinoff. Enhanced Mobility is not the future. Okay, I talk about sprint and mobility. It's not like I only ever mention sprint.
Yeah, but it seems like the mobility argument came about because the sprint argument kind of died a death because the sprint argument has no fucking backing to it. It's just been debunked. There's nothing to it. It's literally a few seconds of speed, and that's it. It doesn't break the game. Doesn't do anything.
It's all related. It all changes certain things. It makes you more elusive. It makes you more mobile. Sprint, thrusters.
Only for a few seconds, though. Not a big deal.
Clamber, they all let you do things you couldn't do before. They all make it so you can traverse the maps in different ways, and they all make it so you're more elusive and it's easier for you to get away.
But that's another argument all to do with sprint, and sprint doesn't make it that easy for you to get away. This is the point. It's not that important. It's far easier. It's if you've got like a space, like I remember you saying in one of your videos, that you have running parts and then parts where you aim your gun, okay, and then you're out in the open and you're running and you get shot and you can't shoot back, yeah. But surely if you were in the open without sprinting, you would be running slower, hence you would have more chance to get shot while you're in the open. So your argument didn't make sense. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, here's what I'm trying to say is that the play spaces are designed around what you are. So if a game doesn't have sprint, obviously its maps are going to be designed like, hey, this area there's no sprint here. So and they move at a constant pace. How should we design the maps, right? That the maps were designed for combat and movement to take place on the same plane. The problem is if you just look at Halo 4 and Halo 5's map design, it's horrible, right?
There's probably
they tried.
I would say Halo 4 is slightly better, but maybe that's just because I hate Halo 5 so much.
It's pretty fucking tough. I really just I don't think 343's ever made a compelling map. Like I can't think of one map where I'm like, yeah, that's really great. I think Mercy in Halo 5 was aesthetically
I think Halo 4 had more maps from Halo 3 and stuff as well. Yeah. Like they had like Valhalla, which was like played non-stop in BTB and stuff like that, and the pit, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think Halo 4 is a little, I don't know, it's pretty.
What was that level, Paul, with the spaceship and the man cannons?
Maps in 5 are just so boring.
That was quite a big level, but it had small areas. It was quite a big level to go all the way around the map, but if you go through the map, it was a small level. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to admit that when your maps are smaller and the average engagement level is close, sprint can damage those because you're moving so fast that now it's like, oh crap, I see this person, I don't have my gun up. Now I'm just going to run up and I'm going to punch him, or I'm going to.
Depends what game, because you see, Reach had the no shield bleed through, so you would. Whereas if you look at Halo 3, it did have shield bleed through, so you would come together and the melee battles were actually more melee battles in Halo 3 simply because you were machine gunning each other and then beating each other down with one hit. Whereas in Reach, one hit would take your shield off unless you had already lost your shield. Then you would die. So it actually was harder to beat somebody down in Reach than, say, a Halo 3.
Well, I disagree, because I think in Reach, you could close the distance faster. If I got up on you,
you couldn't though, because you were both running at the same speed.
So, not if I was sprinting and you weren't. See, that's the problem. If I can move faster than you if you're shooting.
Yeah, but if you're sprinting at me and I'm shooting, chances are I'm going to take your shield off, whereas I'm going to be full shield. You punch me, you're only going to take my shield off. I'm going to kill you with my beat down because you're going to lose your shield as you're coming towards me.
Well, that's not all. Well, first of all, if you actually watch my initial sprint video in Halo 4, all I'm doing in that video is running around and punching people, trying to get kills, just to show you, like, look how I break the game by just choosing to sprint. In Reach, the problem is, unless you're just a complete dumbass that runs out way, way ahead of time, if you come around the corner at somebody and they turn on you, they don't have time to kill you, especially with Bloom, which makes your shots random.
Well, this is it. And Halo 4 has shield bleed through, whereas Halo Reach doesn't. So that's another point.
Yeah, in Halo 4, it was still stupid.
So what?
In Halo 5, it might be the worst ever with the stupid Spartan charge.
So exactly. But the thing is you're trying to say, and I might be reaching a bit here, but you were trying to say earlier about how they designed the maps around sprint. So wouldn't you think when they made Halo 4 and 5 that they would have left in no shield bleed through, which would have stopped you from running up to people and, killing them with one hit when their shield was still partially on? Wouldn't it make more sense, to leave it so you have to have your shield fully down so you can kill somebody? So,
well, I would argue, and you make a good point, and I think instead of using no bleed through to combat that, I think, or first of all, I don't think no bleed through combats at all. I think no bleed through in some instances makes it actually worse.
Well, but no, it doesn't. Go on, carry on.
Well, no, because okay, whatever. If you
can kill somebody with one hit when they've still got shield versus forcing someone to hit you twice, then it's easier to kill somebody at close range because you don't have to do as much damage to them before you punch them. That's
right. But what if I sprint at you and you think, oh, I don't have enough time to get his shields down? What is your option? Your option is to punch me too. because
Not necessarily, not
damage
necessarily, because it
damage you
depends.
do isn't going to be enough to get my shields all the way down. And if you punch me and I have even a sliver of health left and I punch you, we are tied regardless of the amount of damage you just did.
Yeah, but this is not a
And that happens all the time. That happens all the time.
No, because you've got shotguns, you've got swords, you've got
sure. If
grenades.
you go pick up a map pickup, you can combat sprint. Sure.
Well, but
sure,
that's
a shotgun's going to beat the shit out of sprint.
That's how the game plays out, isn't it? We're not always playing with default pistols, DMRs, assault rifles. We're using the weapons on the map. So the game does not play out in these scenarios all the time.
You're right, it doesn't.
We're coming to get. So what I'm saying is, yeah, okay, in some instances, you're going to get, things where people come together and you do have melee battles, but it's not this huge problem that everyone makes out yet again, because that's not how the game works. You've got weapons, you've got shotguns, assault rifles, plasma rifles, needlers, all these different weapons that fire at different rates, do different sets of damage. So that's not always going to end in a double melee or whatever. It's a bogus argument. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Of course, it doesn't always end there. All I'm saying is that because of sprint, the frequencies of this negative thing happening are increased to some degree.
I would disagree.
You would disagree that being able to close my distance on somebody who is engaged in combat, who is not as fast as me, and because of a mechanic, that means if they don't do a certain amount of damage to me, that they won't be able to kill me.
Yeah,
how is that not bad?
I would say that in Halo 3, you were more likely to go for melee kills because there's shield bleed through. You can put about 4 bullets in someone with an assault rifle and then beat them down. That is a lot easier than trying to kill somebody with 2 hits, bearing in mind that anything could happen. You could be grenaded. They could punch you back, so you end up killing each other. It's not a productive way of getting kills. Machine gunning somebody, taking them by surprise and then beating them down is a lot easier than trying to punch somebody, because if you just try to punch somebody and you fuck it up, you're more likely to end up in the shit.
Well, I don't know how whether you fuck up punching somebody while you're sprinting or fuck up punching somebody, AR beatdown.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to fuck up when you've only got to hit them once, isn't it? You got to think about
this. Because you still have to shoot them up until that point.
It's only a few bullets, though. It's ridiculous. You can shoot them, and then before they even got a chance to react, you can finish them off. Whereas
you're right, but you could punch someone in the back. What I'm saying is,
well, yeah, obviously, but I'm talking about just
if you see somebody in Halo 3 running up to you and you start backpedaling, they can't change their speed to get up onto you, right? You can keep that distance between you. Yeah, obviously there's instances where they get close enough.
Yeah, but the thing is with the backpedaling argument is in Halo 3, you're going to be machine gunning. So as you're walking towards somebody, you're already damaging them. So if they back away, they're now in this fight with already been taking damage. So they would tend to close in, okay, because they would tend to go for a sticky grenade, or they would tend to go for a melee themselves. So maybe one of their friends can come in and finish them off. Oh shit, I'm being shot. Oh, I'll get him quick. And it's like you just react and you just hit him. And then, your teammate comes in, headshot. That's how people react.
I certainly agree with that. And I don't think the assault rifle is a good starting weapon in Halo 3. I don't, because it trivializes encounters. There's like, what are you going to do with your fucking assault rifle? You're just going to run at people and shoot them and spray at them, right? It trivializes the encounters. That's why I've always thought, a precision weapon is better, because if someone's doing the same thing with a precision weapon, right, you can do more things. You can bounce a grenade. You can turn around. You can have a better shot. You can out BR them, right? That's one of the great things about Halo is you've always been able to react when you're playing at a high level.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is I'm talking about like the base game, and the base game, the starting weapon in Halo 3 was the assault rifle, which everybody had. In Reach, it was, the pistol and the AR, and obviously you could pick up DMRs and stuff off the map. There was obviously DMR, Slayer, and whatnot, game modes in as well. But I'm just saying, like, from a standpoint of melee kills, the double melee argument couldn't be any further from the truth, because in Halo 3, Halo 4, you've got shield bleed through, which makes it a lot easier to assault rifle somebody, then beat them down. You know, if I've got loads of footage of Halo 4 doing that shit, the assault rifle was even more powerful in Halo 4. I used to have two power weapons with the pick, so it was like DMR with an assault rifle for like 2v2. You know, you got 2v2. You start with two ace weapons. You know, no one could touch you if they didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
So it's like you've got a close range weapon that they can't combat when you're close, and then when they're far away, you start with a really good long range weapon. But it's like,
well, if you're trying to argue that ARing and then punching somebody in Halo Reach isn't as good or effective as doing it in Halo 3, then I would agree with you.
mm-hmm.
But all I'm saying is that because of sprint, and because, you know, when you're shooting, you can't go as fast as somebody in sprint, it makes it so the person sprinting can close in on you. And there are times where, because of that dynamic, you can't get all of their shields down in time, so that when you both punch each other, regardless of the fact that you did more damage, you both are in that point equal, which people feel like isn't fair. And that's frustrating, regardless of how often it happens in your mind or my mind. It's still not a very good
Halo 3 did have that problem too, because you could be...
I think people complained about it.
No, but Halo 3 had that problem as well, because I could be no shield, you could be half shield, and I can melee you and kill you with the shield bleed through, so we could end up killing each other. You know,
yeah,
they actually modified it from the original way, where it was, you know, a bit of chance, to 9 times out of 10 a double knockout. So that was more of a problem than in Halo Reach, where you've got to punch somebody twice unless their shield is down.
Oh, and you're right. But listen, what do you think of this idea? Okay, in those scenarios, the person who has done more damage wins the trade out. That feels like you could fix that, right? Like, oh, I did more damage, I earned.
See, the thing is when I was used to play Halo Reach, and I played it a lot. If somebody, if I got in, yeah, I know that, I will agree with you on that one. If someone came at me with a melee,
because I liked it,
yeah, well, and I liked it, but obviously, so if someone came at me with a melee and it was a double melee, and we both now have no shield, I would tend to go for the headshot. I found it easier to back away and headshot them, because if you think about it, the sprint is only a time thing. Okay, so let's say I've got a DMR, yeah, so he's going to run out of his sprint essentially a lot of the time. When he reaches me, he's already run out. So if I'm backing away and shooting at his head, he's fucked. He cannot catch up with me, okay, at that stage.
Yeah, in that encounter. But here you are
in that scenario. But I'm using the scenario. But we can assert scenarios either way. We can say, oh, they always end in double knockouts, and we can say that they don't. It's just the scenarios. What I'm saying is,
but that's my point.
That is my point. My point is that the double melee argument is bogus. It's not a real argument. It is wrong. You could just as easily say there was a problem with melees in Halo 3 or whatever. That is, you know, it's a different argument. And then you can go look at Halo 4, and then it's different again. You know, it's all different, but everybody is even. Everybody's if the whole game was everybody running around just beating each other down, that would be a problem. But that wasn't Halo Reach, and that wasn't Halo 3 and 4 either. It's just
I'm not saying
gameplay.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that, first of all, I don't even know if that's an issue with sprint. I think it's just an issue with bleed through melee, which
well the argument everybody makes is double melees. You know, it creates double melees. You've said the argument about double melees before.
Yeah, I think it does. I do think it does. Does it make it to where it's just like this thing that, like, oh my God, that's the only way to kill people in this game? Of course not. Of course I don't actually think that. All I'm doing is I'm naming a bunch of things where it does have an impact, and I think you would agree with me, even though it doesn't have this severe impact. There are scenarios where you can get kills that way, doing nothing but
there are scenarios, but what I'm saying is your Halo 3, to me, it's probably worse in Halo 3, a game that doesn't have sprints, because you've got your assault rifle that's going to shred the shields. You know, obviously there's all kinds of ways you can have a scenario. You can say, you know, if you're running at somebody, are you really going to be running directly at them, or are you going to be coming from the side, from behind, whatever? There's all different scenarios. If you sprint up behind somebody, you've got the noise of the heavy breathing, so that actually counters the, you know somebody's coming, so you turn your ass around. that doesn't happen in Halo 3 either. So there's all kinds of different mechanics that have been changed. I agree that
You're right.
slight changes, but not big changes, not huge changes, game-breaking changes that somehow, so we've got like a situation where we've got an abundance of melee kills, double melee kills. I don't see it. It's a bogus argument.
Okay, well, how about this, GLL? I'll just ask you this. Would you, because you don't think it's a big deal, would you care if Halo didn't have it?
Sprint or shield bleed through double melees? What are we talking about?
Sprint.
Just sprint.
Yeah, just sprint. Just like if they say, hey, we're not going to have sprint in the next Halo, is that something? Would you be offended by that? Like, would you think, oh, I can't play the game?
I wouldn't care at this point because of what has happened. If you went from Halo Reach to Halo 4 and removed it, I wouldn't have cared. And if you went from, because as long as you make a decent game, okay, but removing sprint now, it does absolutely nothing. So it wouldn't change anything for me. You could make a good game without sprint. You can make a Halo 3. Great, fine, that's fine. You could make a Halo Reach. Again, a great game. But you can't say that definitively because the game hasn't got sprint, that's going to make it good. It's not like, we could have, if someone said, oh, they're going to make the next Halo 2, it's going to be just like Halo 2, but better. I wouldn't say, well, that would suck because it wouldn't have sprint in it. I'm not like that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But I'm not going to, if you're going to make it.
I agree with you, DLL. I agree with you that sprint isn't the only thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sprint to me, it's probably, it's a bigger deal than it is to you. I see certain things. I see, oh my goodness, I look at things a little differently than you do, but I do not think, I agree, if they removed, sprint, that does not make the next Halo game good. It is not doing other things well. It's doing other things incredibly poorly. So it's not, I agree with you that sprint is not this ginormous issue. Halo has a lot of issues. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I do think sprint, there's something to it. I do think it changes things. Obviously I've made a lot of videos about it.
I think your argument was stronger in the beginning and you kind of faded out and sort of changed your argument, changed your opinion on it to some degree over time as well.
Well, I tried to incorporate the other movement mechanics as well, right? Because, clamber will change things, right? Now you can get to higher places that you couldn't get to before because of clamber, right? It changes how you navigate things. It completely changes. The clamber completely changes, this elevation, right? The way elevation works in the game, because you can reach areas so much easier now. And when Frank O'Connor came out with that bullshit, like, oh, it's so satisfying to press the A button and be able to climb shit that you should have missed. Like, no, it's not. It's garbage.
No, okay, because it takes more skill to crouch jump than it does to climber. That's the point. The game is supposed to be a skill game. So anything that takes away from the skill of the game should be, frowned upon. I don't think sprint's one of them things. I think you can use sprint to your advantage. It's a skill. Like, say if someone's at a distance from you, you can close them down. Say somebody. I've explained this scenario a few times, but I'll explain it again. In the likes of like Halo 3 and Halo 2, often you would get some guy that's just, taking in the scenery, just, it's just a complete noob, not even looking at what he's doing. Yet he's walking in the opposite direction away from you. And you find yourself in a position where you cannot catch this guy. He's got a rocket launcher. You're going to shoot him. He's going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Scenarios like that. Whereas with sprint, you've at least got a chance to close him down. And that's going to force him to either blow himself up or, it's going to give you a slight bit of an advantage. Now, that's balanced in a way because he could, if he's a competent player, he's going to hear you sprinting and that's going to give him a chance to turn around. He's going to hear you coming. So, but it gives you another option. It gives you an option of closing people down, something that you can't do as well in other games.
Exactly.
Especially when someone's looking the other way. But that actually, it's a skill. I still say it's like it can be used and it can be counted either way. It's got a skill to it. Clamber is not skillful. You jump, you hold A, you climb up. There's no skill to that at all.
No, and here's the thing. One of the reasons I refocused, because if you remember my initial video, I was completely against anybody who thought sprint was okay. I even said it was indefensible because I thought there's no way that anybody could argue that this objectively changes the game. But then someone like you, like your argument, you just said, hey, I like the fact that it gives me this option. Okay, I like the fact that now because I have sprint, I can do this thing, right? I can run around, and this guy has rockets, and I have this opportunity, I have this chance. That dawned on me. I'm like, okay, well, it's not that sprint doesn't change anything. It does. It's just that some people
But
like.
what I'm saying is, it doesn't change as much as people think. That's
okay, and that's a fine argument. I'm just saying you liked it because in some other people do. They like the way it changes the game. Okay.
Because I think it doesn't change the game a great deal. That's my argument. I think if it changed the game so much that it became not Halo anymore, like adding in ADS, Clamber, things like that, so it just becomes a completely different thing, then okay. But a few seconds of speed doesn't change the gameplay that much, in my personal opinion. What do you think?
A few seconds of speed changes. It's really hard to put a quantity of how much it changes. I think it's really hard to say it changes a lot or it changes a little. It changes things. People feel the effects of it, and people have negative reactions if it doesn't go their way. Personally, if I was building a Halo game, I wouldn't include sprint because I think it changes enough to where it starts feeling different, and certain strategies arise that don't feel like Halo strategies. And I don't think it alone ruins Halo, but I feel like it changes enough to where people start having that discussion. Obvious, not the discussion that ruins Halo, but people start discussing.
Well, everyone's going to have their own preferences, but I just think there's some arguments that just don't hold water. That, you know, like say the double melees one, it's bogus to me. It doesn't hold true.
Okay, well, I mean,
so it can't. You know, I can understand people having a preference and not liking something, but I can't understand why they would hammer the point as though this is the worst thing they ever put in the game, when it clearly isn't. There's clearly worse things that are in Halo. I hate some of the shit from Halo 3, the power drainer, the regen field. All that shit is annoying to me. Okay, it's way worse than anything sprint or even some of the armor abilities. Power drainer, one of my top fucking million worst fucking things ever put in a video game. Okay, that's my opinion. Okay, but you might not have that, but you might love the power. You might say, well, they're all sat in the base, and I come in with this big blue ball of death, and they're all dead. Within, you know what I'm saying? So you might have a different opinion on the power drainer.
Yeah, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Like, I have no problem with you not liking the power drain.
But the thing is, I'm not going to make a video saying that this broke Halo 3, that the power drainer ruined Halo 3. Like, say, someone would make a video.
I don't have that opinion. However, you have made a video.
If I had my opinion. Yeah, but if I had that opinion and I made a video about it, you know what I'm saying? It would be stupid because it's just one part of the game. I'm saying people make videos about sprint as though it's the end all be all that ruined the game, when I could just as easily make one say the power drainer ruined Halo 3, and you know, people would say I was a nut for that, but no one seems to criticize anyone for making a video about sprint.
Well, the thing about a power drain is it's a map pickup. You may think it sucks, but it's controllable by the developers. It's not a base mechanic like sprint is nowadays. So the power drain is something like, oh, the power drain blows. The power drain's really bad, guys. What are we going to do? Oh, cool. Let's just remove the power drain. And then it's gone off the map, and it's not an issue.
Yeah, but the thing is like, say you were used to playing Halo 1, Halo 2. That was not in the game, so it was added to the game at a later time. And then it turned up on, you know, it wasn't your Blood Gulch, it was your Valhalla, and so on. And it would complete all your tactics that you'd learned over the course of your Halo career would have completely thrown out of the window, because you would say like, oh, we'll hold these doors. Well, if someone throws a power drainer in there, that's completely fucked that strategy. So it changes the game. But does it change the game enough to say, oh, well, this is a huge problem with the game? I would say no, but my opinion, it really annoyed me. That's where I think some people are with sprint. They're saying like, well, it really annoyed me, but that doesn't mean like that minuscule amount of stuff that it does isn't the same as say, okay, we're going to put perks in from Call of Duty. It's like a different thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's not.
Well, I understand where the concept is coming from, where you're coming from. The problem is that the power drain, you're right, it did change the game. and it did do things that Halo never had before.
But not a lot.
Well,
Like
when it was used, it had a big effect. Usually, it had a pretty big effect.
I agree with that.
The thing is that it was not always there. It was because it's a pickup. It is controllable by the developers. They can say, "Oh, I don't like this," and if you don't like it, when you remove it, nothing changes. Okay, so that's why the core game, whether power drain is there or not, doesn't change. Meanwhile, and think about it, if you remove sprint and you remove all the mobility mechanics from Halo 5, you can't even play that game. That game won't even function without those abilities.
Yeah, but that's a different debate altogether. I mean, I'm just talking about sprint. I think if you remove sprint from Halo 4, you could still play it. I think that game, there's certain jumps, I would say, in certain places, but they are rare. I mean, you've got a lot of man cannons and stuff. I can't think of any.
You could probably play it, but when you play it, it wouldn't be the best version of it, or this complete package where, like, yeah, this is really tight. And I don't even think 343 can make a game like that. I think they're too incompetent to even be able to make a good, like, if they could make a game, if they made a game without sprint, I still think it would suck because their map design philosophy blows. Okay, so I don't even think even a sprintless 343 game would be good, which is why I just, like, I don't even fucking know what they're gonna do. Like, I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, you're wrong in here. Your map design philosophy is wrong. Everything you guys are doing over there.
That's where me and you differ as well. You try and talk to 343. I've just given up all hope. And
here's the thing. I'm almost there, man. I'm almost there. Like, I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
Turn to the dark side.
The dark side. Well, I'm pretty much already on the dark side. I mean, it's not like, even the people I talk to, like, I tell them, I'm like, I really hate your game. It's like, I really dislike this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good. Pretty good. At least I hope, even if you still disagree with me, which I'm sure you do, at least hopefully you have a little more insight into why I make what I make. Why I say what I say.
I just think it's the tired old arguments that just keep coming up, but they're not really proper arguments. Then, I've sort of debunked them, I feel, when I say, Halo 3, you've got melees, double knockouts, stuff like that. Everyone seems to just ignore it and keep saying, yeah, but Reach had double melees. It's like, how many times?
A problem being in Halo 3 doesn't make a problem in Halo Reach any less of a problem. Like, I love Halo 3. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
But that's the thing. See, no one was complaining about it in Halo 3, really. That's the thing. Realistically, compared to, like, the Reach just gets a shed load of hate over stuff that is just in the game. First of all, it's a spin-off. It's going to be slightly different.
Yeah, that's fine.
So how much does this stuff actually impact the gameplay? It's different. If you like, not having sprint, that's not the same as, here's evidence for why this, ruins the game. It doesn't do enough to ruin the game. It doesn't make that much of an impact. A lot of people can still enjoy the game even if they don't actually like sprint, the same way that I can enjoy Halo 3 even though I don't like the equipment in Halo 3. It's not a huge change. When you go to, like, Halo 5 and you have you've got mobility, like you like to call it, all that other shit, that's different. Then you changed everything. You've got clambering, you've got thrusters, you've got that hovering shit from Destiny, ground pounding. This is huge changes. All of these little things add up. If you just had Halo Reach and then you just changed the armor ability slightly and you had, like, ground pound in there, that wouldn't make that much of a difference. But if you have,
so you do agree with my basis that all of these things because I agree, the more options they have, obviously Halo 5's map design is way off the wall compared to past map designs because they have more abilities.
But that is not about sprint. That is my point. You see, the sprint debate itself is flawed. The argument for all this other stuff, your mobility argument, is more thought out, but you started from sprint. You say you changed your argument, your actual sprint arguments.
But you think my mobility argument is strong. You think I have a good mobility argument.
I would say it's a better argument. I don't know how strong it is because there's still some still going to be some holes in it. Because
well, I would agree with you from the standpoint that you have to change a lot more when you have all of these other abilities than when you just have sprint.
And the thing is, the discussion is that no one ever brings up a lot of things. Like, I can think of a lot of things nobody ever talks about that would seriously, they never brought into debate. It's the same debates. No one ever brings anything new to the table. Like how I say, well, what about infinite sprint? No one's even going to argue or even talk about it, even though we've gone from a few seconds of speed to an infinite sprint, which clearly makes a huge difference. Because
sure, it makes a difference.
Because it's like Gears of War. You got infinite sprint. You can run forever. So you have less opportunity to get. There's no point where somebody's like forced to slow down, and that's when you get them. Basically, that's when they're at the weakest. So it balances itself by having a moment where you're like, oh shit, now I'm fucked. I can't sprint anymore. I can't get away from these guys. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
either the cavalry comes in or you get fucking killed, and that's it. But that doesn't happen in Halo 5 and to some extent in Halo 4. But obviously there was other perks, and some of the other perks were a lot better, so not everybody used it. But with Halo 5, everybody's just there's no point where the sprint just like, oh shit, now I'm tired, which you would get even as a Spartan. They would get tired from running. Wouldn't it make sense for them to like, oh shit, I'm fucking tired now. Fuck, I'm gonna have to stop running. But that doesn't happen. So that's a different mechanic to the original sprint, but nobody ever brings that up. It's just sprint across the board from start to finish has always been exactly the same. It doesn't make sense. It's a different mechanic altogether.
You're right. It's different. It's been different in every single Halo game. It's been different.
Oh, don't say every single Halo game, because that takes me back to the LNG video.
Wait, what? Which one?
Yeah. I have good memories from every single Halo game. I played that clip about 9,000 times in that video.
Oh, I'm just saying, in the games that Sprint was in, it has not functioned the same way. A lot of people conflate it and say that it has functioned the same way, but it's not true. Reach worked differently, 4 worked differently, 5 works differently. Okay, so you have to analyze each Sprint function within their own game.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say, but people don't do that. They take it as all the same thing. And, sometimes even when you make videos, you make those assertions, maybe without realizing it. You're just like, well, sprint changed this, but you don't go into any depth. I know you haven't got a lot of time in the video, but in which case, don't make the point, because the point is you're not going to. So people we get all this hate about sprint, and it's not necessarily sprint. It's more, a broader opinion. You're making this point like, oh, this happened in Reach, and this is changed. Don't even bring that up. Just talk about now. Don't take us back there, because
that's fair. That's fair. That's a fair assessment to use a mechanic functionality from a different game to explain a point in today's game. You're right, because it doesn't work that way in Halo 5.
I mean, it's like when you did that video on Resident Evil. I was just like, what is this point here?
Oh, that was a good point. That was actually a really good point. If you paid attention, I showed how look how the game functions, and look how the game around it functions because of my limitations. So that was my point. My point was like, look, the game functions based on my limitations.
I think if you made a small point, it would have been, but it just went on for too long.
I know. I went on a little too long. I watched that video and I go on a bit too long here about Resident Evil, but I was really proud of myself for making that point. So I kept going. Anyway, I think we've come to a pretty good understanding. I think it was a pretty good debate. It went better than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, well, it's easier to talk to people face to face than making videos.
That's why I try to do it.
It's for a sensational. You've got to make a point by, blowing it out of proportion a little bit. Otherwise, it won't be entertaining whatsoever. Like some people are in the chat like, GLL is really boring. It's like, I'm not going to just sit here and attack you in a debate. I've got to let you speak. So it's like you're speaking for like 10 minutes. I'm just listening to you, so then I can make my point. That's a debate. I'm not going to sit here and be like, "You're wrong. Shut the fuck up." I'm not going to do that in a debate. That would be fucking stupid.
I think you handled yourself very well. Hopefully, I handled myself.
I thought it was a good debate. I thought
it was good.
I think you made some good points, even on the sprint thing. But I still think that the changing the argument from sprint to mobility, the actual sprint arguments, the double melees and stuff like that, they can be debunked. And some people might disagree with that, but that's just what I think. It's the same tired old arguments with, sprint did this, sprint killed Halo is a funny one. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, really isn't. You could say that about anything. You could say, there's other things, like you could say Clamber killed Halo. It's like that on its own does nothing. It's when you take all these things and put them together.
Yep,
you've changed
100%
the game
right.
too much. So that's what I'm trying to say. But the argument, continually bringing the sprint argument and the double melees, I just feel like it's hammered it's redundant. It's like beating a dead horse. It just keeps going on and on and on.
All right.
And it's been debunked.
That's fine. I think we both made good points.
Okay. Anything to add before we end the stream? Has anyone got anything in the chat you'd like to ask us quickly, because FAVYN wants to leave, I think.
Yeah, I gotta go. I actually have to go somewhere. But I think people are actually pretty happy with how it went. I think even some of my people are saying, hey, it's a good debate. It got good at the end. Because mainly I think a lot of people just wanted to hear the sprint stuff. So
well, I think so, but that's why I didn't do that first, because then everybody would have left halfway through.
No, we had good viewership throughout the whole thing. It's been pretty nice.
Okay, well, maybe we could do it again sometime when we've got some new stuff. But yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Take care, man.
Okay, see you later. Have a good one. Guys, I'm going to end the stream once he's gone, so last chance for any quick questions.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. J1M6 gets a shout out because he wants one. There you go. That went a lot better. That went a lot better than expected. Make another show. Do more. I guess they liked it. All right, man. I'll take care.
Okay, see you later.
See you.
I got better later on the debate because that's something I've been debating for so long that I just know everything about it. When I'm trying to make new arguments, and he's a very smooth talker, it's fine. He's a shrewd character, but he's stuff he says in his video, he'll change his argument a lot. Okay. And that might be because he changes his opinion, but he changes his argument. And that's what I'm saying. He contradicts himself. You can't say that he's the frigging channel that is against all this shit, but then buy Overwatch day one. That doesn't make sense to me. It's a contradiction. Whether you agree with me or not, it's a contradiction. So, I'm not going to slight him now because the debate's over. Well, that's just a quick point. He makes contradictions. That's why I make videos about him, because people request them because they can see the contradictions. Not just me. They request videos. Let's keep that in mind. I'm not wrong about sprint. Oh dear. Shouldn't you be on Gears, Epic? Come on. If I pissed you off in the video, it's probably because I actually made some points that you can't counter. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Just throwing it out there. I would agree with that. It was a good debate. I'll go with that. That's what I'm saying, Tilbury. Is they're saying that if FAVYN supports FAVYN is essentially supporting games that have microtransactions, so he's inadvertently supporting microtransactions when he doesn't support You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I'll come on FIFA, yeah, why not? Well, everybody going into this debate said I was going to get my ass handed to me. I don't think that happened. So bear in mind, it's 9 o'clock. It's now 12:30 in the morning for me. I'm fucking tired. You know what I mean? Katie, yeah, that was classic. Yeah. No, I can't stream FIFA. It'll lag like fuck. Screw you, Epic. Screw you. I don't know if LNG want to do a debate. Oh no, not Dinobot. My Twitter is not secret. It's just not used. If you watch the 2016 update video, it's all my contact stuff is on there. All my stuff. Can't be asked to make another one. Well, that's because the sprint debate, everybody always has the same thing, Roni. Everybody says the same things. So I bring my arguments. It's like nobody ever talks about these things. Why does nobody ever talk about this? What about this? What about this? Nobody ever talks about that. So, you know, I think a lot of it is also public opinion. Everyone's going to be against me on Overwatch because everybody in the chat fucking likes Overwatch. That doesn't mean it's not a free-to-play game for full price. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if you like it. It's still bogus. You see, it's a mixed opinion in the chat here. Some people are saying I lost, but whatever, you know, some people going in would have had their own opinions before. So you can't please everybody. Well, thanks, Silent Gamer 64. I appreciate that. There's no such thing as peace on this channel, man. If people request the videos, that doesn't mean I'm not going to make them. Do you know what I mean? You know, if he's contradicting himself, I'm still going to make the videos. It's not personal, do you understand? I make videos about Roni too. Roni's in the chat. He knows. He's been giving me shit all night. I can give as good as I get. Assuming that is Roni. I can't imagine it's anybody else. Brody, my opinion doesn't collapse there because I'm talking about the model the game uses. I'm not talking about the gameplay. Okay. FAVYN was talking about the game for Judgment as though he knew about the game. You know, I'm just talking about the features. You know, that's a different argument altogether. if uncompetitive, if Rippin was making enough to live off just by doing those videos on his channel, according to what Rippin said, he must make a shit ton of money. Okay, that's just a fact. Okay, if Rippin is telling the truth, well, why would he lie? You should go and check out that Rippin's Glass House video. Gamer G, I could do a video on you. Exactly, Spangle. Having played the game would not change the model it's using, which is a free-to-play model. Exactly. I don't think I could speak to Luke the Notable. I think I'd lose my fucking mind. I think it'd just be me banging my head against the table while he's like talking. You just hear in the background. Yeah, I'm not. Well, Fav, I aren't gonna fucking talk for much longer now. I'm just reading the chat, and then I'm gonna go. It's not like I'm gonna bash you when you're not here to defend yourself. Not much, anyway. I'll try not to. That's not that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to answer questions. If someone gives me a question, then I'll answer it. You know. You know, all these people turned out. I think we had like 54 viewers at one point. That's pretty good for a Google Hangout, which is on in America in like the middle of the fucking day. So that's pretty fucking good going. Yes, Roni, it's a solid free-to-play game for full price. That's what it is. Halo Wars 2 I'm getting for free because I'm game sharing. Okay, well, if FAVYN's going out of fucking whatever, I'll leave because I don't want to end up talking about him when he's not here because he's not here to defend himself. It's not fair in a debate either way. So my 360 rank on Halo 3 was only a 37 because I fucking got bored trying to play solo because everybody stopped playing the fucking game. I probably could have got to about 40 or 45. I would never have got 50 because I just couldn't be arsed. I played a lot more Halo 2 and Halo Reach than I did Halo 3. Halo 3 online was a great game, but it just had some annoying things about it. Like I've said, power drainer and stuff that just put me off the game. So everybody else disappeared as well. It wasn't just me. I had no one to play it with, essentially. We're all playing Gears of War 1 and stuff and, you know, games like that. Right, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. So feel free to comment on the video once it's loaded if you've got anything else, and I'll see you later.